Hi, Uzaidi, you're in. Can you hear me, Uzaidi?
Andy,
Yeah.
your sound so soft.
How
The
about
voice is
now?
so
Is it
soft.
okay? Better?
Jadi better. Jadi
Yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah.
Datuk
All
Sri
right.
also sudah sampai dah, Datuk
Yeah,
Sri.
Dr. Sri. Hi,
Uh,
Dr. Sri Mirza.
your voice a little bit soft lah, Andy.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah, yeah.
just adjust on that?
Okay.
Can you put it on a moderator so that I
Yeah,
can invite some speakers.
yeah. I make Dr.
Nanti
Sri
kejap.
as a
Okey.
moderator as well.
Assalamualaikum, Datuk Sri.
Dia kat sini boleh ke? Sini dah.
Ini. Ada batu. Ada jatuh. Cuba berdirikan dekat sini.
Ada
Charge motor because
ada kabel satu bagian tu yang semua.
Assalamualaikum, good evening everybody. We'll be starting at 9 p.m. So stay tuned. We'll be starting at 9 p.m. And Andy,
Yep.
you have any rules?
Yeah, stay tuned for...
Your voice so soft lah, Andy.
Still cannot hear you. Can you hear me now? Now, better?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
way better.
Okay. So stay tuned at 9 o'clock. We will have a guest speaker today, Datuk Sri Mirza. So, and for a reminder, our Sembang Santai chat ini, we don't involve in any politics and religious issue. And also please be reminded that we have a live YouTube live streaming at the YouTube channel. Yeah. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.
Okay, we'll be starting shortly. Another 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Datuk Sri, okay, Datuk Sri? You okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. Just hang on, Datuk Sri.
All set up.
All right, good. Thank you. Pada siapa yang nak bercakap dan bertanya, sila klik tangan icon and I'll be bringing you to the stage. And those who are here, please you can see a very small greenhouse there up on the top. Just click on that and follow us. Be our members so that we'll be able to notify you on the current or coming events. We have so many events, exciting events coming up. So perhaps you can be notified whenever there's an event. And those who are here, please click a plus. Please click plus and you'll be able to invite all your friends and join the party. Jangan stress. We don't want to be stressed. We want to be more relaxed, santai-santai bersama dengan tetamu kita, ya. Alright, those who want to be on stage, bring you to the stage. Thank you. Datuk Noh, naiklah atas, pentas. Michelle. Who else here? We have whoever want to, please, we are open here. No, there's no protocol. You just click the hands icon and I'll bring you the on the stage. Thank you. Hai Gani.
Hai, Tuan, apa khabar?
Yeah, how's things in Langkawi?
Yeah, okay. We are gearing up for the pre-openings.
Pre-opening, yeah. We also have our Datuk Alex here. We have Cik Zahira is also here. Hisham, Raniza, and Sheikh. Thank you very much for attending the session.
Tuan, boleh invite ni Cik Visual pun ada, tourism
Ada. Tadi. He was in stage tadi. Ada tadi. Ada. He's there.
Ada, okay.
Ada, dia diam-diam je di situ.
I'm here. Hello everybody.
Itu bos tu mana boleh duduk ni. Dia kat situ.
My big boss tu, Datuk Seri.
So tonight kita santai-santai.
Ya, Datuk. Assalamualaikum, Datuk.
Tak clear.
Datuk Seri, Assalamualaikum.
Okay, test the mic. Will be on air shortly. Another 5 minutes.
Everybody test the mic. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Hi everyone.
Hi
Zahira.
Zahira.
Hi everyone. Hi, Assalamualaikum. Good
Salam.
evening.
Hey, hi Datuk Sri.
Salam,
Sounds good. Amran, Bumitra. Naiklah pentas. Amran. Mewakili Bumitra.
Coming. Coming and walking and listening.
Ya, berpegang tangan.
And siapa lagi ada sini? Those.
Shama,
Anybody?
you want to come? I invite
Anybody
Shama.
wants to come? Then join us on stage. No problem. There's no limit.
Yeah. Anyone who want to speak, please raise your hand. Yeah, we will bring you up to the stage.
Syam, apa khabar Syam? Syam from Majlis Pemandaran Raya Seremban. Thank you for attending. Thank you. Siapa lagi nak pentas? Sila angkat tangan. Assalamualaikum Tuan Razlan. Orang penting ni, Tuan Razlan. Okay, we will be starting shortly. Another 4 minutes, then we'll be on air. Alright. So meantime, just hang on. Those who want to chit chat boleh. Sementara kita belum start lagi.
So I want to ask how Langkawi. Alex, kata Alex.
Datuk Alex sibuk tu.
Langkawi.
Sini, Datuk.
Yeah.
How's Langkawi?
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Quiet. Hey, PD, start busy now.
So, can't hear you, Datuk. You got to speak nearer to the mic.
Yeah, Andy, I think you have to speak louder.
Yeah. No,
Dr.
I say,
Alex, but some hotels say that you guys are reopening 16 September.
yeah,
There is no
some of them.
confirmed date yet. Our reopening is
Boleh,
subject
boleh.
to NTN and district office approval.
Right.
LADA, I
Because,
think, has announced that we will open on 16 September,
Lada
but
propose.
we have not officially been informed or anything by NTN.
Lada propose.
right.
LADA proposed,
Propose only. All propose only. There is no specific date yet.
Today we had meeting with Bali industry players, some hotels and all that. Wow, they are literally crying as well.
Damn, everybody is crying now.
Yeah, Cik Kani.
Zahira, are they opening in Bali?
No, not yet.
I thought there was a hoo-ha saying that they will, they open up or like something like
Breaking
similar.
away.
They was planning. Basically, they were open 2 months ago. In fact, they did lots of groups. Unfortunately, then when the COVID increased, they again shut down, and now they even do not know when they're going to reopen soon.
Where is that? Sorry, where is that?
Bali, Indonesia.
Bali.
Oh.
But today, surprisingly, I was sharing with Encik Uzaidi also the list of countries that reopening without quarantine. Sri Lanka, UAE, Switzerland, France, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Turkey and Egypt. Once you are fully vaccinated, no quarantine is required.
How's the number there, Zahira? Are they, what about the cases there?
From the news that I've been reading, cases are quite high, but I think they are just accept that pandemic is endemic and they are just moving forward. So kalau sakit pergi hospital. I think that's the only solution the European countries are taking.
They have to live with the virus. Yeah.
We have to live with the virus. Or not, kita semua kena jadi macam apa tu papa kena atas jalan kita kena dah tak nak buat macam mana dah. How long can we survive? Another few months? Then what's going to happen to all of us?
I think our new health minister announced today that end October he's proposing that our SOPs become endemic SOPs. No more.
Ya, Datuk. Ya.
What's the meaning? Oops. Who's calling? There. Datuk, your phone, right?
Puan Zahira nak tanya sikit.
Cik Razlan.
Saya nak pergi anak pergi Mesir. Lepas tu ada stop by Dubai lah. Dua-dua negeri tak ada ni kan? Tak ada quarantine kan? I tengok.
Yeah, as of today, dua-dua negara tak ada quarantine kalau you are fully vaccinated.
Alright, shall we start, guys?
Okay.
It's 9 o'clock. Alright, okay. Andy, okay? Is it okay?
Yes.
You're set, Andy? Andy, are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, okay, good.
Sorry.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum dan good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episodes of the Road to Tourism Recovery. Tonight, we have a special guest, our old friends. I think most of this room, they know him. And he was the former Director General of Tourism Malaysia. So tonight, kita lepak-lepak, we relax, don't be so serious, and you wanted to maybe you can ask him what's his outlook, what is his thinking, what is the solution. Maybe he has some proposal on how we can recover our tourism industry. We were talking with so many players today, and they were expecting Langkawi to be open on the 1st, but unfortunately it has been postponed. Some people said on the 16th, but yet on the 16th there's no really real clearance or whatever real dates. Whatever it is, the Langkawi players we have here in our stage, Raniza is from Langkawi, Datuk Alex is from Langkawi, Fizul is from Langkawi. So tonight, we have all guys from Langkawi, and Gani also from Langkawi. So welcome guys, welcome everybody, and also on those on stage. Those who want to speak out, or those who want to give out any suggestion and everything, please click your hand icon, and I will bring you to the virtual stage, on the stage. All right. Without any further ado, I would like to invite our guest house sponsor. But before that, let me introduce. We have our colleagues Andy from National Hotel Associations of chapters, Negeri Sembilan chapter.
Hi, good evening,
We have Fizul,
everybody.
we have Datuk Alex, we have Tuan Hisham, we have Zahira, Gani, Tuan Syam from Seremban, from Amran, from Bumi Putra, and I can see just there's one from President of National Tourism, Malaysian Chinese Tourism Association also here. Let me bring him there. Let me bring him there on stage, and also we have Datuk Razlan from KL, Wilayah. He's an activist. He's a very strong leader. So that we can, maybe he want to, he want to listen and see what kind of challenges we are facing now. So without further ado, I would like to invite our special guest. Oh, tak sabar, because this is my old friends. I knew him quite some time. He's very dynamic. He knows what he's talking about, and he has a lot of jokes. So malam ni kita nak dengar banyak jokes, Datuk Seri. Banyak jokes, all the tourism jokes. Please let it out, and we make sure that everybody have a great time. Without further ado, I would like to invite Datuk Seri. Apa khabar, Datuk Seri?
Okay, thank you very much, Uzaidi. I wonder if joke is appropriate under our circumstances. In any case, let me first thank you for organizing this, and I'd like to say hello to all the participants who are present here today. It's good to hear their voices and to share some of the thoughts that I have about what is going on. Surely, like everybody else, I think the situation we are in now is something nobody thought about. I had always been assuring people that this will not be for too long. It will turn around. Somehow, I think the worst has happened. It's going to be nearly 2 years now, and then we are literally moving on without tourists. So this is a real challenge, and the question now is, where do we go from here? What kind of hope can we harbor, and what kind of things that we should do? I had, with taking the opportunity of my, idle time, I'm most of the time at home. I wrote a few columns, for the newspapers to express the way we went around reviving the industry, from the effects of the 1998 financial crisis. If you remember, we had one bad year in
Yeah,
1998,
betul.
where our figures came down to 5.5 million. And what we are going through now is worse than anything that can be imagined. I think the monthly arrivals has reduced to a few, 10, 12,000. That is the people who are coming in for specific purpose. We can't even call them tourists. They are here because of some meeting or some conference, or attending some business meeting. So situation is acute, and then maybe together we can share. I have this opportunity of being there on the pilot seat when we were working towards recovering our industry way then, from 1998 to the year 2008. We saw how it took off, and I believe some of the experience at that time can be of use. We can actually go back to what we did then and see if the same things can be, emulated or improved upon. So I'm here to share and to hear you all and to answer any question I have. And I will tell you exactly what I feel. In fact, having had the time to reflect upon, I realized there were a lot of things that we could have done better too. So we always try our best, and we learn as we get along. And we have every reason to do things better from now on than we ever did in the past. Itu saja, Cik Uzaidi.
Okay, thank you, Datuk Seri. Datuk Seri, you have been in this industry for many years, for donkey years. I know for donkey years. So, in terms of the marketing, in terms the dulu punya marketing and sekarang punya marketing, do you think that after this post-COVID, do you think that the old marketing is still relevant, or do we have to change, Datuk Seri?
I think in reaching out to our market, I think it is obvious that we cannot count on our traditional punya approach. Look at the way we're meeting tonight. This is something that I never thought of, before. And today, I have my tahlil, I do a lot of things with all the people I know, just like that from my home. So communication-wise, I believe we have to embrace technology, do everything we can with the latest technology, particularly on this on part of online, all this internet and all these new communication punya platforms. So this has changed. But what will remain constant is the need for us to come together. Everybody speak in one voice. Everybody, comes together as a team. That is very important, because if we start, undermining one another, we will make the whole process slower. Yeah. So we had the benefit of someone leading at that time. I'm sure our present minister will be able to do the same. She has to bring everyone together, and I think the industry is more concerned about getting out of the situation than anybody else. So the vaccination process is our only hope. It's going on fine. It has speeded up. Let's hope that the rates get down and situations get better, and then everybody has to come together. Wherever they are, they have to be working together as a team, and we have to correct some of the things that we did in the past, which we have kept, unattended lah. So we have to relook at the whole thing and then come on new, fresh, and move on. Yeah. So that's.
Datuk Sri, talking about this refresh, we know that just before the COVID hit us, we had our good times, a good market from China. We had a fantastic with ASEAN. No? Almost 70% of our tourists from ASEAN were from ASEAN countries, and also a little bit from Indian market. But many years ago, we were depending on long haul, Caucasian, the Scandinavian charter flights. We depending also a lot of the new markets. But now, how do you look into the new market, the future market? Do we still need to depend on ASEAN region if if the borders open, or do we still maintain that China is a strong market for us in Malaysia? Datuk Sri.
Okay. One thing is obvious. Tourism worldwide, the greatest growth is in Asia Pacific. This was projected 10, 15 years ago, and it is happening, just the way it was planned. ASEAN region, Asia Pacific, fastest growing. This includes China and even, for the matter, India and West Asia. They are all together growing. So this market is growing. And Malaysia, we have to realize that it is to our advantage in this particular growth area. So the strategy of all of us in the team should think about capturing this fastest growing market, which is the regional market. I remember, the last 10 years of my service. In fact, every time I had to meet up with my, the decision makers, they were always comparing us with Singapore and Thailand. They always say that, look at the ratio of long-haul visitors to Singapore and long-haul visitors to Thailand compared with Malaysia. If I remember well, I don't have the statistic before me, we had 90% regional, 10% international, long-haul. Singapore had at least 30%, and Thailand had nearly 40% international tourists compared to regional tourists. Of course, they had the airport, they had their location, they had so many things to their advantage. But ours was small because our numbers was distorted by a lot of people coming by land, from the causeway or in Sabah Sarawak, from Brunei or from, Indonesia, from Pontianak side. So our numbers appeared big. Naturally, this movement by road brings in only our immediate neighbors, from Thailand, from Singapore, Indonesia, and Brunei. So what used to be our problem should now be our advantage, because remember when COVID struck, the airline industry was very badly affected because they literally have cut their services to minimal. But when it opens up, it will take a while for the airlines to get back to the speed they were before. And meanwhile, a lot of traffic will develop from the alternative means of transport, i.e. by rail, road, or by sea. So this regional traffic is going to grow. And Malaysia should realize what used to be our weakness to be our strength and focus on this regional traffic. Similarly, domestic tourism. A lot of people took domestic tourism for granted until we did the survey and we found out that domestic tourism contributes an amount close to everything we earn from foreign tourists. Of course, in a small way, it goes to a different segment altogether, but the potential is great. So now to rebuild the market, first from the closest point, look at our domestic, once we can start moving domestically, we have to address our regional markets, Singapore, for example. If we can get the Singaporeans and our immediate neighbors, Thailand and Bruneians, to move freely in again, it will ease quite a lot. And after that, we're talking about China. China is, if otherwise the forecast for China for the year 2020 was 4 million tourists.
Yeah, 4 million. That's right. That's our forecast. Or the line's bad.
Where our facilities are concerned, be it hotel, coaches, or whatever we have, they're all ready for this big number, but they're idling. So we have to get quickly to this market and pay more focus to the regional market. And then the international market will actually find and settle in on their own, because we have to have the airlines going there first before we can expect them to come here. So that will take a little bit more time than developing our immediate markets.
Yeah, that's right. We have Datuk Azli from the president of Travel Writer. Datuk, cerita sikit, tanya sikit. Ada apa-apa nak tanya pada Datuk Mirza? Bukan senang nak jumpa ni, Datuk Seri ni. Hai, silakan.
Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri.
Waalaikumsalam. Ya, Ali.
Datuk Azli, silakan Datuk Azli.
Where are you?
Datuk Azli? Tak bersedia lagi. Tak bersedia lagi. Okay, Zahira, you have anything, Zahira? Maybe we can add on any question, any solutions, any suggestions. That Datuk Sri is very well experienced. In fact, he was in charge in Japan, in Japanese market, where he pushed the Japanese to the wall. Ramai Jepun masa tu, pelancong Jepun datang Malaysia, punyalah ramai. So he did a fantastic job. Perhaps Datuk Sri, why is it the Japanese market now a bit soft? I mean, we're talking about 2019 compared to the much earlier.
Yeah. In fact, Japan is one of those market which 30, 40 years ago was our main foundation. I remember when I was in Japan, after Singapore and Thailand, number 3 was tourists from Japan. It was so many tourists coming from there, even more than Indonesian. But all this has changed. At that time, there was not much movement from China. There was, literally very little movement from India. But after the year 2000, everything changed. If you look at the chart, the top 10 market, I saw, everything moving year after year. How this regional market displays all our conventional market. So Japan saw the climax, while I was still there. I think it was the year 1990, I think. No, year 2000, year 1998, 1999.
Yeah, that's right.
Where
That's
they,
right.
where they reached their 20 million tourists outbound, And then after that, because when China opened up, people, their flight orientation start changing. They could fly directly, across Russia into Europe. So the movement towards this side was affected. In fact, the opening up of the communist bloc, the Iron Curtain, when they open up the Iron Curtain, a lot of this long haul movement shifted away from us. We must go back to history. There was one time, all flight from Europe to Japan had to fly down here to Malaysia, Singapore, or Bangkok. From here, it would go up, to Hong Kong and Tokyo, or go down to Australia. Because there was the safest flight path, because otherwise they'll be flying across Russia and China. A lot of airlines needed to have their fuel stop in Dubai. Every 6 hours they must have their fuel stop, so they came this way. And all that has changed. And then Japanese also their own travel preferences have changed. Those days Japanese were going around, going to the beaches and going shopping and things like that. And Japan today has got a market that goes for adventure. They go for a different set of attractions, and they have a lot to see in the immediate neighbor, China. So many places to visit. They're all busy traveling right across the three famous word for the Japanese, Ankintan. Short
Angkitan, Angkitan.
Ankintan. If I get it right, dah
Yeah.
lama dah pun. Short, short,
Okay.
short,
Assalamualaikum Datuk, apa khabar?
short, safe, and
Hmm.
I think and economical lah, tiga.
Okay.
Short, okay.
Zaira.
Zaira.
Apa khabar Datuk?
Baik, Alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm okay, Alhamdulillah, surviving well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Since you touch Japan market and Korea market, the way that we are changing, what I would like to ask is about digitalization. Um, like for example, we did sign recently a contract with Japan biggest OTA. All right, but the condition is we have to do a API connectivity, which we are doing that. Okay. From your perception, why we are lacking in understanding the real tourism digitalization? Most of the tourism players in Malaysia, when they speak about digitalization, what they understand is promotion on social media. They understand the marketing concept of digital, but they do not understand the concept of distribution of product on a digitalized platform. Real-time booking, inventories, real-time issuance of vouchers, confirmation. This is what foreign tour operator needed at this point of time, which Singapore is having their own, strong players. Indonesia is having it. What is lacking in Malaysia? What do you think that is lacking in Malaysia? We are dependent on foreign B2B distributor. Like previously we had DOTW, then we have Hotel Beds, and we have many more others, and just name few. Where was lacking? Is there a policy in tourism, or there was tak ada pendedahan yang secukupnya kepada industri player?
No, I think yang effort towards digitization kan, I remember they wanted to start in a big way back in the year 2000. Various initiative was taken. Naturally, the ministry had to work with some of the service providers, people from the industry. They all came in. A lot of them were thinking, everybody will come in and support them. So I think 2 or 3 major effort did not get to where it is supposed to go. Halfway through, they orang macam could not carry it through macam the other countries have done. I don't know what it is now. In the last 3-4 years, there have been a lot of effort to do the same. So, various associations, I dengar budget hotels and everybody else is also developing their own platform. But a lot of small ones cannot do this job of one comprehensive one, taking care of everybody. So, looking at the situation today, where digitization is the issue, I think that's one area, our industry and particularly the authorities have to relook to make sure that this part is done. Yeah, you're right, Zahira. I mean, everybody else will probably have a similar opinion. We have done a lot of little things, but we have not got one that can actually stand out like the ones we see from other countries.
Yeah, but do you think that association is the right people to actually carry forward? Because at the end of the day, it goes down to dollar and cents, a business plan, trade shows.
Remember when,
It's an association. It's not
I remember when we did it. Yeah, there was this tendency before that whatever the government do, everybody will sit back and see, what benefit they will get from it. But I think the time has come for everybody to come together and get it done. For example, some of these platforms, they need the support of all the tourism industry players. All must come in together and support. And I think as far as I can remember, there was always this element of mine is better than yours, I want to do my own, why must I follow them? And I don't know what was the, all that together hampered that effort. There were a few times we tried. Every time we tried, too many people came in, and I think the effort is still going on. I'm sure they have made some progress, but I won't be able to comment until I find out. I've not been to the ministry or spoke to the people for quite a while now.
Okay. Mungkin Esses, do you have anything, Esses? Ustaz? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay, good evening, Datuk Sri. My name is Aces. I'm a souvenir specialist. Okay, I truly agree with Datuk Sri where Asia Pacific is basically the biggest market for Malaysian tourism. Okay, because we
Esses, I think you have to speak louder
You
a
got
bit.
to be not too clear, huh?
Yeah, you have to speak
okay,
louder a bit.
wait. Hang on a second. Sorry, Okay, can you hear me
No.
now? You can't hear me.
Yes, now better,
Not
much
better.
better.
Okay, sir. Okay, good evening, Datuk Sri. Okay, what happens is that I truly agree with Datuk Sri that the Asia Pacific will be the largest so-called tourism expansion, compared to other places. Okay, I've got a couple of concerns actually. Number one is that I see that a lot of Indonesians used to come to Malaysia many, many years ago. Then now we see that how come they don't come to Malaysia? Actually, it's not that they don't come to Malaysia. Actually, they went over to Thailand as well as Vietnam. Okay, and the Chinese people also the same. So why don't they come to Malaysia? Because they have gone to these two countries very big. In Thailand, there are 10.5 million tourists from China. Okay, so what happens is that my concern is that what can we do so that we can be better than Thailand and Vietnam, because we have got very big advantages in terms of cheap, the language and everything. Yeah, but I understand that a lot of people are going to Thailand, Vietnam, Thailand, Vietnam, Thailand, Vietnam. So what should the government do to attract these people from coming to Malaysia?
Okay, when you talk
A
about,
tough question.
Indonesia, yeah, can
Yeah,
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Boleh.
That's it.
the countries you mentioned, and the fact that our neighbors today are enjoying a lot of that tourists, somehow Malaysia was actually when we started, we were talking about China market. I think the first few countries they opened up was Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. We saw the
Yeah,
numbers coming this way, and somehow along the line, the Thailand actually work on the Chinese market and make it much easier for them to come. Something to do with the visa policy, right? They give visa on arrival. They are very lenient with the visa thing. Maybe they don't have that kind of concern for people overstaying. So our policy towards people migrating and traveling had affected some of our decision, making our visa regime unfriendly. So I
yeah,
believe that's one area that the government have to see, to make sure that in some of these markets, we are not seen as being, being unduly critical about them. I remember there were a lot of policies we made at that time, which sounded very negative there in China. You remember the new what the squad, the lady,
yeah. That's quite. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
the new squad or whatever. So I remember we once said that single ladies from China cannot come to Malaysia. That kind of policies, the effect is very bad. When we make the policy, there's a lot of noise. When we change it, nobody knows. So we have our concerns because some of these people who come, maybe they want to overstay. We got to find a better way to address that, because if we make like a sweeping rule to everybody, in the end, a lot of tourists will be affected. There are people who will coming to stay, and it's always the issue, about home ministry is concerned about, bona fide tourists, and in the process of making them bona fide, sometimes we frighten the actual bona fide. So because there's a lot of element of discretion here. Same thing happened with India, and all markets where visa is applicable. And I'm sure when they start again, we have to relook at this travel formality thing, particularly for market that's affected by that.
Now, Datuk Sri,
And then, yeah.
Datuk Sri, do you think that we are so phobia ke, takut ke illegal so-called illegal tourists datang sini, so that we are so tighten up the regulations, but again we are talking about enforcement. What is it again? Marah nyamuk bakar kelambu. That's what happened in MM2H recently, which they imposing a very high requirement for MM2H punya tourists. Betul saya.
Yeah, the question here is we have to be competitive, right? We must always evaluate what others are doing. Remember those days when we had to go to Dubai or to anywhere in the Middle East. Visa was such a big issue. We need invitation from the hotel, and we arrived there. We must have a sponsor. All that nonsense, remember? But you go to Dubai today,
Yeah,
you can
different.
walk in and get your visa and get in. So it's a question of for those who overstay, we have to work on them inside lah. We cannot put the block for everybody to come in. So everybody has a different view. I had my share of arguing this out, and I'm sure when the situation warrants, everybody will be able to see it. And it's very important that they relook at that part lah, because we know we were forerunners, we were in front, and suddenly everybody overtook us. That calls for a concern. Something must be wrong. Malaysia is still beautiful. The beach, the mountain, the sun, the sky, the hotel is all still there. And suddenly people shy away from us. It must be something to do with, their experience when they try to come in here.
Datuk Sri, do you think we are stuck in the middle now? We are stuck. It's like a twilight zone. Stuck in
Yeah,
this.
we are stuck
Are we doing
between
that?
our concerns for security. Yeah. Yeah. We're stuck with our concern for security, which I believe should not be compromised.
Yeah.
But there is a better way for us to address, the people who want to invite, because like fee, for example, visa fee, if it is high, naturally the message to the people, the target segment we are going after, is that we want to, we're making it difficult for them to come, So, a family of 5 or 6 want to come, each one has to, pay a high fee for the visa.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when they arrive, there's no guarantee they can walk in. They can still be refused. You do that to one person, you shy away a few thousand. Yeah, because at the entry point, it is a discretion of the officer. If he's not convinced, then you have to go back. The big tour operators who do conference, they will be able to share their experience. Even after I retired, some of them call me. I go to the airport with them and see if something can be done. Conference delegate coming in. CEOs and all that. Sometimes they are blocked. They're not allowed in. They stay in the airport the whole day. Can you imagine what kind of effect it has on?
Yeah. Datuk Sri,
the
we have
incentive
on the stage is Datuk Albert. Welcome, Datuk Albert. Is the president of Malaysian Chinese travel agencies associations. Welcome, Datuk. You have anything, Datuk, to say?
Yeah, thank you,
Okay.
President Uzaidi. Datuk Sri, Datuk Sri, it's very
Yeah.
nice to hear from you again. And we've been travel together to do the overseas market quite a number of times. And it's really appreciate and happy to hear from you again.
Thank you.
So, Datuk Sri, as inbound operators, we are very concerned. No doubt at the moment, the government policy for short term is to start off with the this domestic tourism, you know. But as a inbound operators, we are still focused on the overseas market because for the number of years, Malaysia, in fact, we have more than 20,000, and even to year 2019, we also reached the 26 million tourist arrival from overseas. So the World Travel Organization, even our government statements, they are saying that tourism can only recover in year 2024, you know. But as the inbound operator and tourism industry players, I don't think we are able to last or to survive until 2024. So our main concern is to your experience and guidance. You think when the inbound able to start off coming back to Malaysia markets, as you mentioned, the Asia Pacific and also from the regional market. And at the moment we see two major problems. Number one, most of the embassy, they are not really open up to for travel agent to apply the visa, and also the main problem is they are limited of flights, airline flight into Malaysia with all this. So what is your guideline to the inbound operators?
Okay. Looking at the situation now, nobody's experience can help, you know, to tell exactly when it's going to start again. I have been wrong a few times, you know, when it all started. I kept telling the people that this will turn around. You know, I thought 2020 is all, by 2021, March, April, we will be back to normal, you know. Only to realize that it became even worse than that. So this is something I don't think I can predict, but I hope, and I think the logic points, we have to look at the other countries, like, you know, you see, for example, England, their stadium is now full again. They are watching football again. So there is hope, there is hope that when everybody is vaccinated, when the rates go down, I think the government is more keen than anybody else to get everything going again. You know, it's putting so much pressure. You know, people don't have income. You know, and hotels are empty. I don't think anybody at all will like this to prolong. So our hope is now the vaccination process is showing a lot of progress. Today, just now I heard the Minister of Health, YB Khairi, he is really on the ball, and I believe he will be able to do wonders. So once once they all put their eye on something, when everybody put their head together, even vaccination, when they started, they could not do so much, but today they're doing very well. So if this is done, I use two yardsticks. One is Singapore, the other one is the Western countries. See how they have handled the whole thing, so we can learn from them, and hopefully, not 2024, 2023, I think 2021, towards the end of the year, everything should be, working, starting again. So every Saturday when you see the EPL, I should give you hope. You see the stadium, they filled up. They also had very serious things. One time UK was also closed. Yeah, so they have opened up and then they're managing it. I think it will be the same here also. So, but to get back to the 2019 level, will take a while, because for airlines to restart, and then new destinations, because it is a two-country decision, even if you open up, if the country that sends the people in are not convinced, also it won't. This is a bilateral thing.
Yeah.
So everybody has to be prepared and allow lah. Because in our case also, if somebody is coming from a country which has got very high cases, kita pun tak mau bagi masuk. So I hope let's pray lah together. Here we come back to everyone coming together lah, and see if we can bring this whole pandemic situation under control. I cannot tell how long this will last, but I hope it will be over soon.
Datuk Alex,
Yeah.
Datuk Albert, you have anything else? Datuk Albert?
Yeah, you see, Datuk Sri, you see, on our private sectors, we are the same as our overseas business partner. They are also hunger for business. They are also very keen to make the people move. Like expect we send some Malaysian Chinese, let's say to China, and we expect they will send the Chinese people to Malaysia. And our private sector, we've been working very hard. As the main point still depends on the government, the two sides of the government. And our side, we play very hard on 2022 after June. Hopefully China, there is a summer holiday in July and August. Hopefully there are some provinces, especially from Guangzhou or Beijing, they are able to have some traffic from China, and as well as from like neighboring country, the ASEAN, from Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand. So this is play a very important part to show Malaysia is a safe country to travel. Then hopefully with that, the airline able to get more business. That's why everybody is the private sector, the government, we have to work in hand and play hard to make the inbound market. And once you have the inbound, definitely it will goes along with the outbounds in 2021 by mid year. So this is our target lah.
Datuk Albert, you are specialized in cruise. You are specialized in cruise,
Yes.
But what will happen in future?
Okay.
Are they moving up? Are they there's a demand there on from cruise?
Okay. Thank you, President Uzaidi. You see, cruise is another point, Datuk Sri. You see, on the association side, we've been request all ports from Malaysia, because we have very good ports like Port Klang, Penang Port, this Malacca seaport, and also in East Malaysia. And we have looked at Singapore and Taiwan, even in USA now. Let's say we talk from Singapore, Taiwan, and even with Hong Kong now, they start with cruise nowhere, only for their own citizen or PR, and the response is very encouraging, and also shows it's very safe to travel on cruise. But we don't understand why our ports, they allow the cargo, and why they're still not partially open for all those cruise ships to come into Malaysia. Let's say for Genting, they have the 4 to 5 star cruises. They can always make Penang or Port Klang as a home port, so can start with from Malaysian, they can cruise nowhere for 2 nights, 3 nights, then turn around and back, or even from Port Klang to Penang, Penang to Langkawi, Langkawi down to Malacca and back to Port Klang, you know. So we've been what we call request many times, but until now the still not open to.
And the rates come down, and I think everything else will move towards this direction. You know, they will start allowing things one after another. I remember this Langkawi example. You see, people in Langkawi are waiting for the tourists to come back. You know, for even domestic tourists. So just like the situation of Langkawi, then eventually will be the cruises too lah. Because the danger today is kalau dalam cruise satu jumpa positif, I don't know, the effect can be quite devastating. The whole cruise will be sealed. You know, people cannot get out there, stay for 2 months.
Terjun.
So you know.
Okay, can I invite Datuk Zul? Datuk Zul is here. If you have any points, Datuk Zul.
Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera everybody. Datuk Seri Mirza, apa khabar? Okay.
Wait. Thank you.
Straight to the point. Let's not waste our time because it's already 1st September. How ready are our friends in the industry in terms of your own company operations, the products that you have to the market that will open for domestic? I think in my sharing today is let's focus on domestic, be real about it. Jangan kita lose the opportunity for domestic. So let's make the best of things, and we have to do things a bit unusual, bukan business as usual. Jadi minta pandangan Datuk Seri.
Yeah, I think it's logical. The logic is there's a theory in tourism, they call it the proximity theory. Proximity theory is tourism will start from people around you, then slowly the wave will grow to go to the long haul. So domestic will be the first trigger, and then for the properties, is to ensure that when it starts, we don't allow for any room for cases like this to appear. So there's a question of adhering to the SOP. I'm sure this SOP will be still in place for a long time. Hearing from our neighbor, they say COVID is not going to disappear from this earth. Just like SARS, H1N1, remember we had all that before. COVID will also be there, but it's a question of how we manage it lah. We vaccinate everybody, we have our own immunity build up, then every property will be more careful. I believe among us today also when we meet up, we're not rushing in to shake anybody's hand. I think there's one development.
True.
The other one is, we are talking to each other online now. So these are another development. So a lot of things like this will happen. Hotels must look at this and see how, the whole holiday experience in the hotel can be done by not compromising on, this transmission possibility. Like, checking people whether they have both the dosage and all that will come in. I think the protocol will be introduced very soon. With the protocol, I think the new order will start. I remember for Muslims who go for Hajj, there used to be a lot of cases of meningitis. So there was a rule that anybody who wants to go for Hajj must have a jab, for meningitis, immunity lah. And that become the new order. So anybody who wants to go there must have that. And today, I think everybody must have proper, immunity lah for this whole thing. So for all the properties, I think that's one thing to look at. And the other one is for people who have not traveled, they're craving to travel. So you can expect there will be a wave once you open up. You must be prepared for that wave lah, because that wave can also backfire, because if we don't control it, then cases will start growing again.
Yeah, that's true. I think we know about this revenge tourism. So once the border opens, interstate will be allowed. There's a call it revenge traveling lah. This is yeah, I still remember in December there was a rush traffic to Langkawi, which the port of Langkawi or port of Kuala Place has it's overwhelmed. They cannot control, they cannot even to maintain the distance, to follow the SOP, because the place are so cramped.
Yeah, yeah.
This has give us a backfire, if especially those media spread out to our international counterparts saying, how come Malaysia, you guys do not follow this SOP? Then they were afraid of this, they might be afraid sending their tourists here to Malaysia. So revenge tourism is there's a pro, there's a con, but we hope that we can maintain to balance it up. Those three.
Yeah. I mean, you said it right lah. The Langkawi experience last December kan, and people rush in, business was getting small, and the numbers spike out, and the whole thing got over again.
That's right.
So for those of us who are in this business, we have to look at our operation and see if we'll do everything that is necessary to ensure that the transmission possibility is checked. Kalau lah ada satu turis come with that also, the effect will be minimal kalau at all.
Yeah. Maybe we'd like to
So,
hear from
this
Steve. Do you have anything, Steve, from Port-Dickson?
Yeah. Can say Oh, hi,
Yeah,
good
go ahead,
evening.
Steve.
Datuk
Go ahead.
Mirza. Hi, lama tak jumpa. Okay.
Steve.
I was very glad that you came online, and Uzaidi arranged something for all the old timers to catch up with you.
Old timers,
always
orang tua.
all
Orang lama.
orang lama.
Orang lama. Okay. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
One thing I agree just now that Datuk said about don't forget, for me looking at it, I think hoteliers or agents wise there is no other way but to focus on domestic tourism I mean, looking at statistic wise, yes, we have 26 million people coming in 2019, but similarly in 2019 we have about 12 million Malaysian going overseas. 12 million, is a big figure. And I'm sure the 12 million that goes overseas will spend much more money than they have to spend in locally. So definitely, I think there is a huge market, domestic market to tap, and we just hope that quickly the country get whether they want to go for the 80% now. First they talk 70%, now maybe they want to go 80%, or they want to go 90% of the population being having the vaccination. Hopefully the authority really will support the industry by really opening up all the interstate traveling and really help to boost the domestic market. This is, for me, this is the only hope for the next probably easily from now onwards probably another 2 years I think 1.5 to 2 years. This is the only hope for all the tourism players. And of course we understand we haven't hit the herd immunity. Government keep on expounding on that. By October we hope to hit. But now maybe October, maybe also cannot. Maybe November, but maybe after November that's it. Full stop. Open up and let everybody go. And then what Datuk Seri said is true all now is the time for all the hoteliers to get ready, all the travel agent to get ready your service, whether your service quality, your product quality, get everything ready, because definitely there will be a boom I think that there will be a boom, because these 12.9 million people or so have no place to go, and now by now maybe go to even higher, more than 12.9 already. So we are talking about those people who went overseas. So I think that is the most positive thing for any of us in the industry to look at But obviously government plays a big part Khairi is there now. Hopefully, Khairi said that, okay, I'm happy with the numbers. Get the PM said, okay, let's open. Okay, I think that would be the life. That will be the lifeline for the industry. Otherwise, we are really, I don't know what to say. I cannot say anything. So
Don't cry, don't cry.
beyond words. So
Good evening, Datuk Seri Mirza, Uzaidi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you, Datuk?
Datuk Alex.
Alex ini dari Langkawi sini. Puan Zahira, we are actually trying to do a lot of digitalization. In fact, we have, trade shows now digitalized. Problem kita ini kat Langkawi ini, our connectivity, is although we are supposed to be a 5G island, I think 2G pun tak sampai. Even now, I'm having problem with this Clubhouse even. Okay, into Uzaidi, just now you said about Dato Sri, I want to ask you something. I mean, when you were DG Tourism, you had a lot of issues with KDN, kan?
Uh-huh.
But right now, we don't have anybody who goes and sorts them out. As I said to Uzaidi the other day, the whole problem here is enforcement. Nothing but enforcement. Why are you shortcutting everything by putting in impossible rules and regulations? Orang nak masuk, girls tak boleh masuk, and this and that. It's all about enforcement. Why isn't Ministry of Tourism or Lembaga Tourism bring it up with the Home Minister? Dulu I know dulu kita punya Tan Sri Sheikh Kadir used to argue with the Home Minister sampai dia dapat apa dia mau. It's a very different situation now. Semua dia orang mau tutup pintu tu. I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about policy. Policy, COVID, I agree with all the systems in place. Whatever we have to do to protect ourselves, and I agree with this. This now the gentleman who said, I've retargeted my market for the next 2 years domestic. Whatever we get international, I praise God lah. We get whatever charter flights and all international, I praise God. But it's going to be a very domestic market for a while. But I cannot understand. We should be encouraging. Why isn't another Sheikh Kadir, Tan Sri Sheikh Kadir, lawan dengan KDN untuk kita punya rights? We are the third largest contributor to the economy. You enforce lah. You janganlah tutup pintu, cancel visa, buat cuma macam-macam gila ini. We are trying to, I don't understand the policy. Maybe you kena jadi consultant untuk Motek cakap dengan KDN.
Dato' Sri, your response?
Dr. Alexander,
I have no doubt, Alex, when the doors open up, this will be the issue they will address because they are equally concerned. Because there came a time last time, we became a bit, contented lah. Numbers were growing, income very high. The mind was set on how can we make money from the tourists who are already coming. We forgot about getting more tourists to come. So I think that's something they will do immediately when they open up again, because our policies must be positive lah, to support the growth of the industry. I'm sure they will do that, because if they don't do it, then it will take even much longer for us to achieve our targets. So this policy thing, slowly but surely, because a lot of things happen. Some things was within our control, others was outside our control. Example, I remember the dip in our arrival started from 2014. I remember the 3 air crashes. So
The crash,
one was the crash, and then our airline cutting service, and then the world perceiving us for our safety, and then we need to invest money to reassure them about what we are. A lot of things were not done, not done enough lah, not done properly. So in the mind of a lot of people, Malaysia compromise on safety. This talking about all the negatives lah. So we have to get out of that lah. I'm sure when things get better, we have to tell the good story lah. I think in the last 5-6 years, what the world has been hearing about us has been mixed. And we're supposed to only tell good stories, but somehow they hear all kind of stories. So that also affects tourism, And I hope when we get out of all this, then we will have the right things to tell, to the right people, investing enough money to reach to all these people, because to correct an image, it's a very hard job, because once people have some kind of idea about one place, we've got to change that. We have to invest a lot of money in communication and do a lot of PR work, as we did in the year 1998, 1999, to build up the market. It took 10, 12 years to reach the full throttle for us to go up to 27, 28 million tourists. But we have to work on that kind of foundation again. You kept mentioning about Tan Sri Kadir. During that time, we had M10, Majelis Tindakan Ekonomi, M10. It was a financial crisis, so we needed foreign exchange.
Yeah, yeah.
At that time, whatever was seen as necessary, we had the full support of the government, because the government wanted to do it. So when they want to do it again this time, I'm sure they will do the same thing. At that time, we have dialogue, make decision during the dialogue. But such situation will come back. I remember I was part of the team at that time. How we travel, have dialogue overseas with the tour operators, with the DG of Immigration Minister, and DG of Tourism on another side, and deciding at the meeting, yes and no, with the High Commissioner. So we were doing all that before, but I'm sure such thing will happen again.
All right. Datuk Sri, maybe I would like to invite all the way from Bali, Indonesia. Maybe we want to know what's going on from Bali. Tony, are you there, Tony?
Yes, Datuk Sri, I heard your reply. Thank you, Datuk Sri.
Yeah.
I
Tony?
just wish
okay. Right.
we get it right,
Okay, thank you, Uzaidi. Thank you, everyone. And
Can you speak a little bit louder? Louder?
Datuk
Little
Sri
bit louder.
Mirza.
Tak dengar sangat dah.
Dengar, boleh ke? Dengar sekarang?
A little bit louder. You have to, I think you have to.
Datuk Sri Mirza, for all the challenges and all the work that you put in, and it's really good to see a lot of key industry players in tonight's forum. I just want to touch on a few things, Datuk Sri. From what you have done in the past, I believe with this current COVID-19 situation, mega events is out of the door. But what I can see here in Bali, although the federal government has put in this kind of like a lockdown, but within the province, and because of the structure of Indonesia, the provinces themselves have to generate that local income, and they recognize that one of the only ways is to allow local domestic tourism. Despite the high numbers, Bali, I believe, has recorded something like 62% vaccination. But the bubbles that they're creating seems to work. So how it works is within the municipal. Some of these areas, for example, Handara Golf Course, they have remained open. Their hotel has been recording 80 to 90%, 42 rooms occupancy. And the reason why that is so is because they only allow vaccinated staff to work. And visitors who are going in have to pre-book, have to show negative test results 2 days prior. And also, if they have vaccine, then they just need to show their vaccination certificate. That seems to have worked for them. And until today, I'm back here only for two months, but prior to this, I was here for 3 years. And from last year, from the COVID situation, there was not even one single transmission case from the golf resort. It is a safe place. The ministry must send this message across to the government that there are safe places. Another example, Datuk Sri, one of the jetty operators in Bali, he became so frustrated because he only depended on luxury yachts. And when luxury yachts dock, they dock for weeks and months. And because they have to stay put at a place to wait for the owners to come to the yacht, that is big money and that is very niche, which Langkawi can make use of. If our government can listen to the operators and allow the operators and business owners to come up with ideas, we can create safe bubbles. It has been proven, except that our government must not be stubborn, because by locking down, it's killing everyone. And the situation has arisen that many people have no jobs. In my case, I'm so lucky to have come back to Bali because of my previous project. They've asked me to come back, and thankfully I have a job. Otherwise, I was suffering in Malaysia for 7 months. Couldn't find anything to do. I was sending food, sending vegetables. But anyway, the long story is they are safe bubble, Datuk Sri. The message must go out to the government. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Uzaidi.
Thank you, Tony, all the way from Bali. Datuk,
Yeah,
you have anything?
that's a very good point. Very good point. I think this should be brought to the attention of the ministry lah. Maybe they can, understudy how Bali is doing that. There was another thing Bali did which I like very much. They were showing how clean up it is now. They showed the river, they showed all this because they say there are less tourists, but Bali is better prepared for the tourists. That's the kind of
I should add,
positioning we
Datuk
need to
Sri.
do. Huh?
I should add very much that the federal government is in direct conflict with the governor, but the province mayors, kabupaten, they have another idea. As for the cleanup, I can send you a lot of pictures I see on my beach that all the rubbish washing up. It's publicity. Dato Sri, you're right. The publicity to correct the perception, and Bali is doing that well ahead before they open, and Malaysia must do our part. Malaysia is much
Yeah.
better than Bali. We have much more to offer.
No, the thought that there is no tourists now, the place is getting cleaned up, everybody is excited to receive you, everything is fresh and, just like, some product that has been, just refurbished and improved and, air is cleaner, no dust, no rubbish. This is publicity, but it sets in, because a lot of people like to go to a place where less people have been. So that positioning must be worked on. No, I see Singapore doing that. No? I see even Bali has done it. A lot of places are doing it. Phuket did it. I think we all have to do that also. But we must tell the world how things are better now for the tourists. In our case, we have to do it just before we open up, so that when the interest is built up, we have to open. If you build up interest and you don't open, then it will wither down again. It must be timed well. So I think I'm sure the decision makers will be having this on their drawing board now.
Yeah, okay. Min, you have anything to say, Min? I can see you're blinking.
Oh,
Min?
sorry.
No.
Good evening. Hello, Dato Sri Mirza. Sorry, I
Yes.
just joined. Dato Sri, I have a question for you. What do you think of the future of our tourism for Malaysia? As for your past experience, you can see that Malaysia one time is one of the leading country in the tourism industry. What is your comments on this coming for the next 5 years? Where is Malaysia, and are we still remain competitive, especially in the ASEAN country? Thank you.
Okay, my take is very simple. I until the time I retired at 2018. I remember 2015 onward. We all, I think the industry feedback and everybody together, we all felt we have to come out loud and address the issues we were going through. Just the thing that comes strong in our mind is the disasters. And then on top of that, there was a few other incidents, little incident but big publicity. Remember about safety at the airport when this Korean punya guy was murdered there. So these little things will come out very loud outside. So we were very concerned about addressing that. I believe we must come up with good money, and work on correcting it. Otherwise, you go out and tell people still down. You have to correct it. I remember when we did it the last time with the MTA campaign. Wow, we were the big spenders. I think all the foreign media, the international media, particularly all this global media. Wow, we sponsored programs, to speak about us. Everybody, wherever they went, they felt so proud, that Malaysia was everywhere. It's all money. They say the negative publicity, people give you for free, but positive you have to pay. So we need the positive publicity.
Positive so
Very,
expensive.
Positive publicity you have to pay. Negative, you don't have to say anything. They will write it for you. You know. So once a negative come through, we have to come up with positive. We have to work up with the media and do the corrections. We need to do that. The correction must be done. I think it's a good time to start on that, because otherwise, in the mind of a lot of people out there, they know that it's a beautiful, attractive country. They are not sure if we really want them or not. We have to go back and tell them that we need them and that
Yeah,
they have nothing to worry about coming here.
I think the message is very important, Datuk Sri.
Yeah,
The way that we message, we want them. The message that
yeah,
we want the tourists to come here.
yeah.
Isham, do you have anything, Isham? I tengok nampak you blinking tadi daripada Thailand.
Assalamualaikum, Datuk
Salam.
Sri.
Silakan Isham.
All right, everybody, good evening. Assalamualaikum. First of all, again, salam to your brother, Datuk Sri Tarik. Okay. I'm not a tour operator. I can give or share my highlight as tourist lah, because I do road trips. I do road trips from Malaysia to Thailand, Thailand to Malaysia, go to Indonesia, and go to Philippines. Right, I take people from here, a group of friends from car clubs and everything. Right, our numbers are something about 9,000 people. So that's the numbers that I have lah. All right. Rule number one: if the government should, from last year I already was talking about this with my friends. The faster the government get the message out to the people, COVID is here to stay. You have to learn to live with it and around it. It's not going anywhere, right? If it goes, it's a bonus. But the fact is, it's going to be around, right? You should teach the people with the SOPs, all right? Certain things, yes, you restrict. Certain things you have to open, because on the industry itself, there are not one, there are not hundreds, there are thousands of people earning a livelihood on it. All right. Charity begins at home. That's what Datuk Sri you have said. I agreed with you. We always have to look our local market first. The problem with some of our operators, they neglect some of the local market. They be concentrating on the overseas, because where they all go for the big money. When the big money is there, the domestic is neglected. All right. You go to the beaches in Terengganu, you go to beaches in Kelantan, you go to beaches in Kedah, Pantar Merdeka, which is not much of a beach, but it's so clean now because there's less people going there. Just like what Bali, a guy from this, what is this? Tony was saying about the beaches around Malaysia is so clean because there's nobody has been going to it. But until now, not even a single tourist company or the authority is doing any promotion. Why? Because the government is having these closed door policies of not forecasting anything for tourism. The hotels in Terengganu, the hotels in Kelantan are not so much affected because they have the sign in and sign off. So they are okay. But the hotels in Penang, the hotels in Langkawi, the hotels in PD, the hotels throughout the country are closing down. All right. Hotels in Kuala Lumpur, Chulan, Istana closing down. All right. Industry is so much affected. We want to do inbound tourism also with friends. Want to go anywhere we can. All right. Forget about states. The district is closed. Within district also you have limitation. So the government should learn and address the people and educate them. COVID is here to stay. You must have this if you want to travel. You'll get seen expedite things being vaccinated. People will make an effort to get themselves vaccinated, because then the livelihood can go on. Until such thing is not being addressed, you can open, just like I want to go to a hotel now. First thing they will ask you, are you double vaccinated, or you have a document that you cross district. Until the districts are not open, nobody can go anywhere. Pulau Pulau Redang is closed because there is a case. But Pulau Perhentian besar, Pulau Perhentian kecil, Pulau Kapas, it starts to open tomorrow. All right, but nobody can still go there because the people of Kuala Terengganu are not going to go there because they are so used to go to there. All right, so the industrial players, the hotels, the small people down there are basically, I think half of them are almost dead lah. All right, you go to Terengganu, some of the small hotels are all cobweb everywhere. Nothing can be done. right? But the government until now, if you see, they were talking about vaccination, they have never educate the people, not even once you have heard, whether it's the prime minister, whether it's the authority, whether it's the minister of health, whether it's whoever it is, saying once COVID is here to stay, we have to learn to live with it. And there's not a single policy out there who has basically going to the people to tell them how to live with COVID. Basically, oh, you can't do this, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't eat here, you can't. I mean, that's not policy, that's SOP. All right, that's about all I have to say.
Thank
Right,
you Tuan.
I'm a,
Thank you Tuan Hisham.
I'm a
Thank
small
you.
player anyway.
Thank you very much. Rimau tu baik-baik tu, jangan ditekam kan.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Ada
Yeah,
lah
it's very
one thing
true.
dalam grup kita ni, yang closest to the authorities sekarang ni is kita punya Cik Uzaidi sendiri.
Jangan.
He is the
Setuju, setuju,
authority
setuju.
now.
Betul, betul.
He is a member of the Tourism Malaysia Board.
Jangan.
Jadi,
Betul,
and
betul,
then
betul.
also by way of his
Agree,
association,
agree,
he's very
agree.
active.
Agree.
You see, Datuk
He is in
Seri,
constant communication with
at
the ministry.
at your
I'm sure
time,
it will help relay this information to the right authorities.
Tourism champion
So,
tu.
Datuk masuk Chili lepas tu dah
Nexus,
letak Chili.
Nexus.
saya lah jadi Quran buruk lah. Quran buruk ni. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm always ready to to share my experience because there's a rebuilding to be done. But then ni image building ni, it is something intangible. Orang yang involved, orang yang duk buat, dia mungkin can get a feel. Orang yang tak tahu, to them make no difference. I give you example, yeah. And today they said cut back air services to all these long haul countries kan. Pull out senang, cuba masuk balik. You get back the same slot. If you had 8 o'clock in the morning landing, if you go back, you're not going to get the same slot again.
Exactly.
It's easy to get out. It's easy
Landing
to get
rights,
out. Difficult to go back inside.
Yeah, I
So
think
benda ni industry people will understand this better lah. And
the
then
important
untuk kita orang ni yang buat campaign ni, if you ask Steve how we build the Indian market, Mr. Taiyab is also there. You know how we build it. It was not 1 or 2 years. We go there, we have a dialogue, we talk to them city after city, change this, change that. After a long time, I remember from 27,000 tourists, we took it to 750,000. Our target was 1 million. But somewhere along the line, they just slow down in between. And then, so there must be something that we did not pay attention to. That's why it got stuck.
Yeah.
So if we want to rebuild, tengok how we build it before and then continue from there. I'm sure we can.
Malaysia can sell.
Datuk Sri, do you think that is very important for the influencer? Because as our head leader, PM, the Prime Minister should be a best ambassador for Malaysia to speak out. So he speak one word can represent to all. See, so this is a very important. He speak to educate everybody.
Andy, your voice is very soft.
Okay.
I can relate to Datuk Sri. You were saying that the influencer plays important part in terms of promotion. You were saying Prime Minister is supposed to be number one influencer lah.
Yes.
Maybe you can say number one salesman lah for Malaysia. That's what you're saying, then?
Yeah, correct.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. We have very good hope there because our Prime Minister today was once the Deputy Chairman of Tourism Malaysia.
Yeah.
He's in a position to understand how it operates, and number two, to be more empathetic, or more sympathetic towards the industry situation. So I think as far as we are concerned, we have hope, that we will get better attention. And then also in the cabinet lineup, the minister herself, I know her because from those days she has been very supportive. I'm sure she's, the moment she can, with the help of her colleagues in the other ministries, will be able to address some of these long-standing issues and then start off afresh. So it's a matter of time. But talking about this pandemic, this one whack everybody lah. This one nobody, I mean nobody can say anything here. It got myself wrong so many times. So the only hope is prayer lah. Things are looking good lah. You look at the vaccination process, and you look at the way some countries have managed it. So that's the way we can possibly end up. So
Yeah. Datuk No, you have anything to say? I can see you blinking. Datuk No from National Tourism Council.
Okay. Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, how are you? Lama tak dengar
Thank you.
cerita. Okay,
boleh nak joke lah, semua orang sedih sangat.
Itulah, kena ceria malam ni. Semua very serious lah. I pun takut dengar semua ni. Okay, I need your opinion. Due to the uncertainty situation, we cannot wait for the border to be reopened. Okay, we should embark more on virtual tourism before the real tourists come back. What is your opinion on this? What your advice on this, Datuk Seri?
That's exactly what's happening right now again. We're talking to each other on the virtual platform. I think we must also start communicating more on the virtual platform. And I totally agree with you. I think that's going to be the new normal. The new normal is to capitalize on this new technology and the physical sales call and moving around meeting people will probably take a different form now, and everybody has to have a terminal in the house. I think everybody's home will be a small IT center, like my house is today. So every day in one corner somebody is teaching, in the other corner someone is in university, someone is learning. So I think that will be the new normal. Even in communication, kita punya ni. I also had a chance to look at a lot of programs on YouTube. Look at the kind of videos they post on YouTube. I believe that there's another area where we can encourage people to do content and post it on the YouTube about our attractions and all that. So it is a good influencer and it does a job better than a lot of the initiative I was conducting it myself. I noticed. I can just sit in front of my TV and walk through any city in Europe, choose the road, and I can be walking there, like as if you're visiting the place. So such content must be developed, and I hope there will be more Malaysians who can develop content, interesting content, and post it on the YouTube or all the other platform, so that people can see them.
Datuk Seri, you were saying before your retirement, you were saying that after retire I want to play golf. I want to really all out golf. Have you been doing that since you retired?
Since my retirement, the whole world has retired now.
Jaga cucu.
I tell people when I left office, everybody is working from home. So even golf, there's some windows. Once in a while, you can go out and play. But otherwise, there's a lot of restriction. Golf pun banyak restriction. One buggy to a person, and then banyak SOP banyak. It's not the same anymore. You cannot have a party after the game. So my golf part has not been as good as I intended. In fact, I wanted to do a lot of travelling for golf. Tapi habis-habis, go back to my old club and play there. So that one has been a disappointment. But not as bad.
Welcome to Bali, Datuk.
Bali. So bila Datuk Seri retire je, COVID came. There's nothing much I can say.
Yeah. So my retirement actually, has affected everybody lah.
Datuk Seri main e-sport.
I regret for retiring lah.
Okay. Perhaps we can invite anybody else who want to ask any question or make a joke. Datuk Tangga, you are there. Datuk Tangga from the Mita. President Mita. Go ahead, Datuk.
Yes, Uzaidi, thank you very much. Datuk Seri, Mirza, good evening. How are you? And
good, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening to everybody. Okay, I think most of the explanations given by Dato Sri, this experience is very valid, lah, very valid. Indeed, we were talking about how to bring in tourists and how to go outbound. I just had my neighbor passed away recently. Couldn't even go to the funeral. So how are we going to go out of the country?
Yeah.
And today I just drove by in the federal highway, the arch between federal territory, federal KL and Selangor. I spent about 40 minutes in the traffic jam. So we are still within home, within the house and interstate, inter-district also we are not being relaxed. So looking into going outbound or inbound, it will be slowly from your house. You can go to your neighbor's house. Very good already. From neighbor's house, you can go to the shops freely. It's then another part. So that is how I feel it is going to be. Slowly, it will be there. But as you said, Datosri, the YB Minister of Health, I think he is doing a great job. His acceleration of the vaccination is superb. Indeed, we might by October we might be reaching the 100% target. So that is number one. Once we have been vaccinated, I think we have crossed 50 to 60% of the hurdles in the tourism industry for inbound and outbound. So the second point is that most probably we have to tie up. They call bubble travel and all this. We have to tie up with a country to country which allows us, and we also reciprocally we send our tourists and they will send to us. At the moment, there are a lot of restrictions, so it is quite difficult. But first, I think every seminar they will be talking about life and livelihood. So priority is still given. Livelihood is life. They are giving about 60% or 70%, 30% only livelihood. So we have to wait and see. I think I can see the rays in the tunnel, the other side, slowly getting brighter and brighter. Hopefully, yesterday is 20 over 1,000, today 18,000. Every day I'm seeing it. It is dropping. The faster it drops, the faster the tourism industry will take off. That's my opinion. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you, Datuk.
exactly, Mr. Tanggawilu. We are on the same page on this one. You know, it looks like the silver lining is already there, you know.
Yes.
How fast the wind blows the cloud off and we see sunshine again.
Datuk Tangga, how do I know you were doing a lot of outbound to India, especially visa to India.
Yes.
How do you pivot? Do you just close that department, or you still maintain and hoping for another source of income?
Okay, the Indian High Commission at the moment, because the Indian visa has now become an online visa already. They are giving 1 year and 4 years visa also. 5 years visa also online they are giving now. So everybody is applying it online, paying it online. Only those who are employment, student, and medical, these are the visas. Still medical also online you can take it. Employment at the moment only employment and student visa. So they are practically inviting them to come to the embassy, High Commission, and apply on that. But at the moment, restrictions is now to go out of Malaysia. Malaysian citizen require a My Travel Pass, the exit permission from the Malaysian immigration. They are only giving at the moment to those who are emergency and ill seriously, or you are going for a medical treatment, or some high importance business. That's all they give. Apart from that, they don't allow you to. They don't give permission. My Travel Pass is very strict. Likewise, coming into Malaysia also, only Malaysians can come back, or permanent residents can come back, or those who have a long-term visa here, they can come back, or Malaysia my second home. Malaysia my second home and long-term pass is also subject to approval. Only Malaysians and permanent residents of Malaysia can come into Malaysia. Apart from that, at the moment, it is still like a big pagar. It's a barrier there. So movement in and out, I really feel very sorry for the airlines. They're losing in trillions and trillions of US dollars. They are unable to take off. And I was in the aviation industry before this. And I know when an aircraft is on the ground, it's a big loss. The more they fly, the more they make. The more they are on the ground, the more they are losing. So that is how at the moment the restrictions on the, but Indian visa at the moment, it's quite easy to obtain online lah at the moment.
So
Thank you.
they don't need agents to.
At the moment, they have stopped the outsourcing at the moment.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be that's going to be a new things after
Ah,
post COVID. There's no more agents doing these visa things. Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't know after this whether they want to appoint for exclusively for those employment visa and
Yeah.
other visa. But that is a limited number. It's not really necessary
Okay.
for them.
Okay. All right. Time's running out. Maybe if anybody want to ask question or give suggestions. Maybe I would like to invite from Bumitra pula. Bumitra Travel Agents Association. Cik Amran. Ada apa-apa ke Cik Amran? Ataupun Haji Anwar?
Assalamualaikum.
Silakan Haji.
Very good,
Waalaikumsalam.
very good evening to all the Datuk Sri, especially President, Datuk, Datin, and industry players. Thank you very much, Datuk, for showing up again. I feel like the Ultraman is here again. I think so, Datuk.
Ultraman.
You have to come back again. What I've discussed, it has been very good. Dr. Albert has been very positive about the cruise to nowhere. I think so. The government policies, maybe Dato can advise the necessary authority, and as you all has done before during your time, okay? So that mungkin the economic planning unit to know better what we're heading to, okay? And then SOP is very important, but until and when we don't see the light in the tunnel is another question. But I think so we should start trying to line up the SOPs as we to get tourists to come into our country or vice versa lah. Just like the the guy from Bali, to maintain the cleanliness of the beach and the places of interest, and get hoteliers and travel agents to throw in some very good packages lah. That will if we start. They say that charity start at home, start from home. So if we can do a very interesting, very interesting package in domestic, okay, and then the media help us to tell that look, Malaysia already doing it already. I think so. Then the millions of people outside and the tourists will love to come to our country. Thank you very much, Dato, and for giving your time to us. I hope you will become the hero to help us again in this COVID-19. Thank you, Dato. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Haji. Hero. Tadi Ultraman, lepas tu hero.
Hero. Ultraman, dia menang tu dia jadi hero tu.
Hero lah. Hero die last.
I mean, your hero was bashed up quite badly when he was when he was at the helm. He was bashed up. So some of the wound, he's still licking it until now.
Datuk Sri, you had a good time, especially during these good times during this economic recovery masa 1988, 1989, 90. You were in German market. You were in Japanese market. You were heading this European. Can you just share a little bit the character of this? Maybe a little bit joke daripada Jepun, daripada Germany. And I used to listen to all your jokes from overseas. That might be might be macam ubat lah.
Serious sikit.
That cerita pasal Germany and Japan, because I remember my posting. First one was to Frankfurt, second one was to Japan. Jadi orang selalu tanya lah, why Germany and Japan? So the closest answer I can give is apart from being a very important market both kan, also because it is the aggressor during the Second World War. So I went to find out why they were so aggressive. So Germany, I came back after less than 1 year, So we were all recalled. Many of us, 10 different officers were recalled. I came back within a year. So people ask, hey, how come your posting is so short? You're supposed to be there for 4 years. So at that time in 1990, from the time I arrived, the reunification of Germany started, East and West came together. So by the time I came back, they already became one. So I told them, I went there to unify the Germans, so now that they are together, I came back.
Yeah, masa tu Berlin. That's right.
On the serious note, both these places I was, at the time I was there, I saw Malaysian market growing. I remember my days in Germany, we saw how Langkawi picked up, in the eyes of the Germans. They were, Langkawi, for that matter, East Coast. And when I was in Japan, we saw how ecotourism, got introduced in Japan for Malaysia. People said the Japanese are afraid of the jungle. But when I was there, the whole thing changed. Then we went for this student excursion. Japanese, since Japanese school are all single race, homogeneous. They wanted to find countries where people of multiracial society live and study together. So Malaysia became a perfect example. It became the most popular destination in Japan for this overseas school excursion. I think they have the term for it called Shugaku Ryoko. So I was very fortunate because at the point I was there, things down here were actually developing very well. I saw these markets growing, and it was a great pleasure. If you do something when it works, it gives you good pleasure. And then I saw how Langkawi became so popular in Germany. In the first 3 years I was in Japan, the Japanese tourist was growing in Langkawi exponentially, every year doubling until that accident. One accident in Japan, it was a Jalpak punya pax, passenger honeymoon couple. One guy was killed. So when they investigated, he came out in the papers in Japan. Ini apa itu driver tak ada PSV, van tak license,
Aduh.
That kind of thing. So Jalpak had to pay compensation to the family, and they stopped, featuring Langkawi in all the major programs. They were afraid, because they said things on the ground does not operate according to, there was a lot of compromise in terms of professionalism. I saw how critical they were. Then I realized that market like Japan and Germany, we have to be very careful in handling them. We cannot put lebih kurang cincah-cincah dangerous. Big market. I remember Japanese market. After 60,000 Japanese come to Langkawi for that particular year, then it started shrinking. And today, you get only a fraction of them.
Yeah.
So here you are. Is one is growing the market. Having a campaign growing the market. Number two is keeping them, on the ground, on proper, arrangements. So very important.
Uzaidi, I have a
Yeah.
question, Uzaidi.
Silakan Datuk.
I think Uzaidi, you as a champion for Nexus Tourism, I think while Datuk Seri sehat apa semua, there's a lot of stories he can share with us as the industry player. So macam story yang ni, it shows how the effect of non-licensed operator, tak ada insurance, tak ada license, semua kesan dia yang berlaku. So these are one of the thousands of stories I think Datuk Seri Mirza ada. I think we should capture this, in a maybe in his column, to contribute back to the industry as a lesson learned lah kan. Banyak benda-benda ni kita tak tahu, tapi macam Datuk Seri Mirza atau KP-KP yang lain, they have their own stories. So yang ni yang industry kena tahu, this kind of stories, the effect on the industry. And then we can raise this up to the enforcement people and say, look, this is what's going to happen and continue to happen if you don't take serious action on this.
Yeah, agree Datuk. Agree Datuk.
Yeah.
Uzaidi,
Yeah,
Sheikh
Sheikh.
here.
Yeah, silakan Sheikh.
Uzaidi.
Silakan.
Uzaidi, Sheikh here. Maybe I can add up a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
You see, okay, let me tell you a little bit of my background. Since 2002, I own a travel and tour company. Been doing a lot inbound and also recently outbound before COVID. So far, I find that a lot of countries, as Datuk Sri mentioned, why they are so much ahead from us.
I'm looking at, because I know some people in Vietnam, some Thailand, some Singapore, they have done a proper branding strategy with 15 pillars to govern at least 25 years of their tourism blueprint. So I think we Malaysian, we tourism Malaysia, MOTEC, the government, they need proper blueprint with proper guidance, with the with the proper pillars from ground zero up to the branding level. Uh, Example, I give you an example. Human culture. Comes enforcement, come digitalization, or come technology, I would say. And also we have to look into improvising our tourism destination, because every time people come in, is the same scenario in Malaysia. The same, you only see the same thing. There's no improvement on it. We should keep improving in terms of infrastructure. First of all, it could be digitalization infrastructure, or the destination itself, and also position ourselves same level as, at least come to a level as Singapore first. Then I think maybe we have better future, because if we have proper blueprint for 25 years and we follow, it doesn't matter who change in the ministry, who change in the position. Sorry to say, I'm just giving my opinion. Whoever change or they don't change, doesn't matter. Whoever come in, whoever take over the position, they follow this particular blueprint. So that's my take. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. And also looking at it, we need a PCC account for our MOTEC, a governance of a protected cell company that governs the insurance for the industry players and also for the government in terms of negligence, including all the other segment in the insurance category. So what PCC does, PCC brings you directly to the wholesaler market, to the REs like Hanover RE, Swiss RE, Lloyds, and so on. We do not deal with the local 25 insurance companies because of their policy and also the sanction against, against REs and Bank Negara Malaysia. So we have better opportunity here now post COVID. Is even better. I think I think if I'm not mistaken, Dato Alexander has mentioned that it's gonna be crazy if they allow internal tourism, which is domestic. Soon I think we will have I don't know, like he says, 20 million, maybe more, people coming to just to to get themselves out of the quarantine time at home. So I think a proper guideline and a blueprint under the tourism policy for 25 years or 30 years will make the difference. And that's all from me.
Alright, thank you very much. Good point. Good point, Sheikh. Datuk Seri want to respond ataupun later. Kita nak mungkin kita kumpulkan satu dua soalan lagi.
Okay. So Sheikh,
Just 1 minute, Dato Seri Mirza. Tourism Malaysia has got a blueprint kan? Yang Indonesia copy kita kan?
Ada.
Tapi tak implement.
I want to tell Sheikh just now, yang blueprint ni, master plan for all aspect of our industry kan, memang ada. It is very, very thoroughly done. A comprehensive one has already been finished. Okay, the issue here, people keep on changing, and the blueprint needs to be communicated down the line. And I mean, we should discuss that. Macam forum macam ni, take one subject, somebody present and we hear it. We must continue doing it. Kalau tidak, benda tu buat, study took about 6 months, 1 year, siap, presented to the steering committee, given to the state to be incorporated into their own building and design or their own master plan. And then down the line, people don't feel it. So I believe, since you discussed that, you probably, realize that We don't have it, but the fact is that we have. And I think the message to the people is, for whatever master plan we have done, or whatever study we have, we must constantly bring it down to the ground and discuss it so that more and more people understand what needs to be done. The study has been done. I know from the days I joined, we update one every 4 or 5 years. And then bila study siap, kadang-kadang it gets outdated. And then, before it can present it to the ground, the situation change, and then we need to do the whole thing again. I think the latest one has just been completed. I think there was a launch made very
Yeah, I
recently,
think
so
they
we
have
should
launched
look
it.
at that one. And
Yes, Datuk
maybe
Seri, I have the copy. When I go through, sorry to stop you, I've gone through the whole presentation of 57 pages.
uh-huh.
And a little bit another addendum additional to the blueprint. It does says a lot, but it's just story. There's no point of implementation. Like they should have colored books for authority, for enforcement, for service, for apa namanya, to improve the segment that whatever we have. Let's say people like to go to Langkawi. Why? Maybe the island. You have to improve the island. There's no synchronization with one and another. And our transportation does not synchronize. Semua ada sendiri masing-masing punya kepala nak buat apa. So this doesn't make sense. Blueprint maknanya you need to standardize from arrival. It doesn't matter how they arrive, through border or through airport. It comes down to the grassroots, up to the operator. It has to be standardized. Taxi, for example, the buses, the airline, the train, the ferries, the apa nama, cruises. All this has to be aligned, and the human branding that we should look into is like, how do you present yourself? How people in Kuala Lumpur presenting themselves as Malaysian, and how does people in Kelantan presenting them as a Malaysian? So this also make a lot of different tourism program with every kerajaan negeri have their own. How is this possible? We have to be one Malaysia, one Malaysia. We do not have tourism, visit Malaysia, visit Terengganu, visit Pahang, visit, tak boleh macam tu. I think, this is my opinion, we should have a single entity to do the branding program.
I agree
That's
with
my
you.
take.
I agree with you. Message to the rest of the world should come from one source. Kalau ramai sangat go out and speak, it will distort lah. And often reach is limited. So you're right, Sheikh. Over the last 10, 12 years, kalau you tengok, each one have been trying to champion their own cause. Kita punya national brand tu, Malaysia tu, had to take some beating lah, because yang lain nak compete, they wanted to be more than Malaysia. We also have state that felt that they can do better work than. I think all that needs to be readdressed. The 1998 experience was we all came out together with one head, everybody together. We did that for 2 years, 6 meetings a year, every 2 months. Minister with all the ESCO, every tourism association, all the presidents, all sit together and discuss. Issue decided and settled on the spot. I remember attending about 24 of such meetings,
But
all within the period of 3 years. We had
but
every other month that kind of meeting. So I'm talking about that kind of momentum lah. So whatever issues there are, it won't last more than 2 months. It must be settled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they should do
Dato,
that.
I feel I want to do it pro bono for tourism for Motek without charging them a single cent on the blueprint, right? Because I feel responsible looking at current situation today. I feel like why I'm not doing something, and I know I can do it, right? And my team can pull this off pro bono, and let's see how the government will change if they want to change. You know what I mean?
Yang ni I susah nak comment because
I
If
like
I
your
can
I
allow
like your
to,
point, Sheikh. If they want to change.
so I believe Cik Uzaidi lah mungkin boleh bawa perkara.
yeah, Datuk,
Ultraman.
if you allow me to add
Ya,
on,
Zahira, silakan.
basically, okay, there is not a comprehensive blueprint, but MPC Malaysia Productivity Corporation, they are actually doing some work which is MATEX, okay, where they actually certify company for the entire processes. So probably apa Cik Uzaidi, that can be improvised into the service, because currently what MATEX certification is all about is the entire process of the governance of a company, how the employees are working, how the bookkeepings are being made. So probably that program can be enhanced, that documents can be enhanced, because I think MPC is already doing good job in term of the regulation, in term of apa nak bagi senang kerja, and there's a lot of things that MPC is doing. So probably this can be, take up to the next level.
Yeah, Zaira. Good point. Good point. Datin Rayu, you have anything point? Any point? Rayu, Datin Sri? You have to unmute. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Silakan.
Datuk Sri, apa khabar?
Okay, Hamza,
Datuk Sri Mirza, hi, how are you?
thank you. Khabar
Datin
baik.
Sri from
Okay, thank
Touch
you.
Tours.
Thank you, Uzaidi, for inviting. I am loud and clear.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Right.
Clear.
Good evening to everybody. I actually agree with all the points actually we have discussed this just now, yeah. I can't agree more that the campaign must start from a source. Only then kita tourist player ni sambut, and we start promoting on our platforms as well. The ministry especially, Ministry of Tourism, have to promote and tell people that travelling is safe. That one we have to do it to boost their confidence that they can travel even though sekarang tengah pandemic. And Malaysia is ready. So iklan has to be everywhere lah. And maybe we start with the locals first, so that they are more convinced to go out and travel, because they want to bring their families as well. So we have to tell them that it is safe for them. No worries, that kind of thing. And then maybe slowly we also iklan to our neighbouring countries. Bak kata Datuk Sri tadi pun, turis ramai kan coming from our neighbouring countries. Right, that saya rasa iklan ni actually tak rugi pun, because we have all kinds of travellers going everywhere kan, not only for entertainment or for leisure, but they come for business, etc. So with that, I think it's fine to promote it even out of Malaysia. Yeah, but we can do it in phases lah,
Okay, great.
And that's one. And number two, about relaxing the rules tadi tu pun, I agree. I concur on that. Maybe slowly we can relook at that and see how we can be a bit more friendly to the foreigners, so that they see Malaysia more attractive as compared to the other countries. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Datin Sri.
Okay.
Dato Sri, with all these problems and challenges that we are facing, Dato Sri rasa macam lega tak? Dato Sri ni dah retire compared to now. If you are here, I mean, you have to face all these challenges. You have to try to figure out how was because there's no such a good perfect formula. Just now Sheikh kata perlu ada blueprint 25 years. Datin Sri kata perlu iklan. So many things that we need, but again we are learning every day. We are learning because this pandemic is new to us. Kita tak tahu macam mana nak how to cover, how to to overcome it. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, I left the office, tapi jiwa kita masih dengan tourism. In fact, kawan-kawan kita yang ada our contact, people who we deal with are all in tourism. If everybody together is suffering, I don't know how I can feel differently. And jadi,
yes.
Of course, I sympathize. I sympathize with the industry because the real brand is felt by all of you, kan? Dengan keadaan kewangan, dengan your facilities, and even to my colleagues in the department, dekat Tourism Malaysia and the ministry, kan, they're working hard, but it's a helpless situation. orang tak boleh bergerak. So no matter
Yeah.
what you do, nothing can be right. It can be even more frustrating. It was more fun during our time when you do something, when you see it work, you see it growing, you know. You celebrated the success. Tapi dalam keadaan macam ni, it's a question of endurance. I remember what Jack Ma said. We all should sit back and say, I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to have survived. Not so much on whether we have progress ataupun we lost business ke apa. It's a question of staying alive. Ask those people yang affected by the pandemic. I just heard from my family members, ada satu sekolah dekat Shah Alam, 30 students kan, 30 students lost both their parents. Suddenly that family dah jadi yatim piatu tau budak-budak tu kan.
Wow.
So talking about families like that, then the perspective comes even closer. In our case here, I think I like to believe that the worst is over. Like someone mentioned just now, the vaccination process kita tengok dah progressing kan. I think the numbers, the new cases, the death rate and all that is also, getting reduced digressing kan. Jadi bila benda tu dah mula kurang, it looks like, the better time is coming. So, I selalu I melawak je kata, I'm glad I'm retired. Tapi, I mean, otherwise by now I would have gone to Langkawi 10 times. Ni I sendiri pun tak boleh pergi Langkawi. So I think, brother,
Welcome anytime.
you sold the tunggu kat Langkawi tak sampai-sampai lagi. Alex nak tunggu, janji dengan mereka. So, if there was no COVID, I would have had a better life.
We are waiting for you to come, Dato' Seri.
Welcome
We are waiting for you.
back.
I was looking forward to visit all of you after I retire. I cannot go anywhere. Lagi frustrating.
Yeah. Mungkin daripada Langkawi ni Tuan Fisho, kita punya otai. Cakap sikit. Nak dengar dia punya opinion, Tuan.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat malam semua. Okay, good to see you again, sir. Datuk Seri Mirza, lama tak jumpa.
Same here.
Okay, Langkawi actually we have problem regards to the opening. Kita sebab memang date tak ada. We don't have specific date. Nak buka, tak buka. Dia banyak kan propose. Okay lah, kita leave it to MKN to decide lah. That's why we have a discussion dengan Motex 10-12 hari lepas lah, last month. The main issue is that I propose to them that the new norm. The new norm ni, that means we have to back ourselves back to roots regard to dengan the rules and regulation law yang. Sebab apa? Bila kes Jemput jadi dulu, there I know from A to Z regard to that matter. We lost our market. Then a few more cases, from Europe and all these things. Mengelakkan kepada kejadian ni, so that Motek had to come up with certain strategy. That mean to legal the operator in Langkawi to get a proper license and also proper transportation, because most of Langkawi players are transporter, involved with transportation. That we involve many car is illegal to use. Jadi benda-benda tadi we have to highlight back. Tidak kalau buka tak ada bermakna the new norm that we are talking about. This is the high time, untuk kita to bring balik. The best enforcement that we had before is under TDC before. That's the best lah by that time, that we have. That's why Langkawi now we are receiving a lot of inquiries now, either from everywhere, every country, and also a lot of domestic coming over. Kalau kita tak jaga betul-betul for this coming opening, in the end of the day we are losing back. That's why the most worried that we always like with a few friends, Then we even have a serious discussion with our former our DO, district officer recently. We come up with a specific plan. The problem is that we don't have the champion now in Langkawi. the champion to get all these things through, because these are new people, CEO, then DO baru, then backup tak ada sekarang. So it's something that yang kita worried, you know. For the other people, players, they don't worry because they cakap buka, whatever it is, we take a risk lah. But you see we take risk, memang kita take risk, but we take very very expensive risk if we don't really monitor. Sebab sampai sekarang pun kita punya SOP have not been approved, a proper SOP. That's why I don't know whether SOP for special for Langkawi. In the end of the day, banyak benda yang kita pending lah. That's why a bit worried. So we are looking forward to see you again, that we have our last discussion. When you were here, then it's a good discussion that we have. Yang kita boleh follow through so many things. That's all I like to highlight to everybody lah.
Alright.
And for Zahira, regards to this IT, our principal have signed the MOA with Google, and we're going to have a special session with Google in Langkawi. Yeah, soon by this September. Tomorrow I'm going to have a meeting with the Google regards to the promotion and also the fine tuning for the API for the to assist back all the industry players in Langkawi. We start from Langkawi first, then I'm going to move forward, and we can keep in touch together about this. And also, Mr. President Uzaidi, we're looking forward to work hand in hand together with all the team and with the advice from our big brother, Seri Mirza. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuan. Very good points. Perhaps before Datuk Seri can comment, can I invite anybody else? Tuan Izzaz from Langkawi, from Genting, Langkawi, Genting Resort, anything? Genting Resort World?
Hi, good evening. Salam semua, Datuk Seri. Isaac from Resort World. I got nothing to comment, but it was mentioned earlier about the cruise by who, Albert or
Datuk Albert from MCTA.
Yeah. Actually, we tried. I mean, Genting itself, Genting Cruise, wanted to start cruise from Penang to Langkawi during Hari Raya this year, but things didn't work out because of the numbers went up, you know. And they tried also in Singapore, close to nowhere. And then when there is what they call virus, there's positive cases on the cruise, then they stop. Like Datuk Sri said earlier, because cruise is you can't run anywhere, you know. So one case, then you have to close lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know whether this is a good things to say, but you see, now we are talking about domestic market. Yeah. I just read this on this Malaysian Reserve. 34% of Malaysian actually ready to go for traveling. Talking about local travel agents and all that, because during pandemic last year, we talking about OTAs. It seems like we've been paying commission actually very high. Can we do something to help our local operators? Instead of giving 18 to 25% commission to OTAs, I rather give 10 to 15% to our local travel agent. I'm sure now they need help. Okay? So I don't know. That is just my opinion.
Thank you, Tuan. Zahira, you anything to respond on that, especially on the OTA?
Okay, hi Isaac, how are you? Okay, regarding the OTA is because they are the only people who actually have the platform for the bigger distribution. right? To be very frank, our system, we are working on an API connectivity with Genting. Reason being is we need to give instant confirmation. All this while we were actually working on your system. So my team used to book, and there was a lot of issues and all that because our client in overseas need an instant confirmation. Even if it is a local, a domestic client, everybody wants it to be booked online on their mobile or whatsoever the medium is. Even when we want to get connected with Genting, we are still unable to get connected because the system that Genting is using is quite backdated, to be very frank. I'm so sorry, because your China team, and then it dragged on to more than 1.5 years. So this is what I keep on emphasizing, that digitalization, the right tool, is very important. I agree with you, OTA is taking 18%. The 18% is something that probably we tour operator can earn. But tour operator, again, when a consumer wants to use a travel agent service, they want something to get instantly. They wouldn't want the answer that, okay, can I get back to you within 24 hours? So that's the issue that I think a lot of my friends, the tour operators, the travel agent will actually understand. We are unable to capture the domestic market. Reason being is probably like Lexus, Negeri Sembilan, Port Dickson, because they are having the voucher program. So yes, they did very, very well. But how many tour operators, product operator, who can actually capture the domestic market, the domestic consumer? Today we had a session with Menara KL Tower, all right? Can you imagine that during the last, after the first lockdown, when the market reopened, KL Tower threw out 100 tickets daily on complimentary basis. They were unable to sell their tickets because local domestic consumer do not want to buy the tickets. Because, they have to go, walk in. They just do not want to do that. So I think, I agree with you on this commission thing. I think it is time that all the tour operator, we work together. Maybe Genting, you guys are the biggest. Okay, so Genting come up with a solution how agent can book online without much hassle, rather than the kind of the procedure and the process that we have currently. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, Zara.
If I might,
Yeah,
if I may
Ijaz.
add in, because last year we Ma Kedah Police Hotel Association, we try to approach on OTAs, ask them to give discount and all that. They just don't bother. I mean, every individual hotels have to approach them, not as a group, So end up we still paying the same. Yeah, and business is, I mean, we know last year,
Agree.
eventually there's no business at all, But they just can't compromise.
Actually, on another point, Isaac, I think I've been talking this with Uzaidi and a couple of forums. The regulation of OTA in this country is very important. Unfortunately, the foreign OTAs are not regulated. They are not paying the taxes that they are supposed to pay. They are not paying, or they are not bound to a lot of rules and regulation in terms of operating in this country with Motec or with any other agency. When a consumer book online, the payment goes to their bank account in Singapore or Thailand or anywhere else. So, like for example, Saudi Arabia have regulated their OTA. You got to make sure that the payment being banked in that particular country. You pay taxes, you pay your GST, you pay whatever your VAT, only then you take out the money. So I think that is something that Tourism Malaysia, Motec, with Ministry of Finance have to look into regulating the OTAs. This is the biggest challenge, that it will never end unless the OTAs are being regulated.
Zaira, I think I agree with Isaac. Some of the OTAs are very arrogant.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Okay, I'll share with you. We don't do the domestic market. We do the international market. Okay. Previously, we were doing. I won't take India as an example because India is totally different. I'll take Saudi market as an example. When we used to do Saudi bookings, it used to be lucrative booking. margin is very high. We can upsell. There's a lot of things that can be done. What happened was travel agent was actually comparing our agent rate with OTA. So consumer was getting smart comparing travel agent rate with OTA. And OTA was just slashing their rate, unregulated and all that. That's when a lot of travel agent in Saudi, either they downsized or closed down, or they were actually having lots of issues. Then the government came in and regulated the OTA. Only then the travel agent managed to, it is a chicken and egg situation. Unless we don't regulate them, they will just keep on throwing because they are monopoly, they are in the state of monopolizing the entire business, because booking.com can only give you the business, or Agoda can give you the kind of business. No local travel agent or no product operator can actually give you the kind of business that you want for even Lexis or Genting or anywhere.
Actually, sorry, Zahira, coming to this point, yeah. OTA, for me, I've been with Agoda many years back, Yeah, what you say, they like to show rates and things like that. Of course, as a hoteler, as an operator, you have to manage them, lah. They will come up with all kind of tricks, So in fact, personally, last time I have closed, my dealing with Agoda for I think like 3-4 months, until they came back to me, because I said that, if that's how you play the game, I don't like it. I'm not going to give you allotment. I cut you off, but not many hotels are willing to do that, lah. But we are giving them the product to sell. We have to monitor, lah. If they go out of
Exactly.
line, we have to put them up. On another thing, Zahira, you're talking about you want live booking. This is a multi-million-dollar game, because they have to invest so much in the system to be so flexible. That's why
Correct.
if you have a system you want to integrate with our hotel system, then these two systems must be able to talk. If you cannot talk to each other, then you have a problem.
Agree.
Then another way to go around it, I still have solution for travel agent, but they may be a little bit more inconvenient. You see, even last time one that I in fact some of the travel agent are doing with me, but because the problem with travel agent is sometimes their business is not so consistent, inconsistent. Once a while they get one inquiry. So another way on a cheaper way is very simple, but you have to log into my website. I give you a password. You go inside my system, you check the room, the rate, you check the room that you want, is live. So you can book it immediately. Okay? If you want it, it's live. It's instant confirmation. But there is one flaw. Travel agent has to pay me on the spot to do the booking. So many of you may not be, are you willing to pay? If you are willing to pay, there is no issue. I give you the link, I give you the password. Once you go in, whatever rate that you see is already discounted. Let's say 15%. Your rate is discounted upfront 15%. You can book live, but you must give your credit card detail, your company corporate card or whatever card you give, you book, you type in the name, everything is confirmed on the spot. So there is way to go around it, but like you need to do a little bit more lah. Of course, another way is very simple. You ask for allotment, we give you allotment. If you are a regular, you say, okay, Steve, you give me allotment. You just open any booking, I just confirm. You can give me 5 room nights, 3 room nights, I confirm. There is many ways to go around it. Of course, if you want live, then you must invest in your system. You must
Correct.
your system to be able to talk to 10 other systems, You must
Yep.
be different hotels, different system, you see. So
Thank you.
there's no way, nothing to go around it, lah. But he's talking about dollar and cents, and these guys, they have got the big money to put inside. They have got the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
money.
Thank you, Steve.
Agree. Thank you, Steve. It is a good point. But as much as we at the private sector we want to invest, like for us, we also have invested heavily. We are B2B. We have invested into tech. We have done our API connectivity with different countries, OTAs, product operators, B2B. Yeah, it is a lot of money and it is quite stressful. But at the end of the day, what we need is, if we are the foreign tour operators are not being regulated, at the end of the day, we will be defeated on our home ground.
All
So
right,
that's the
thank you.
problem.
Thank you, Zahira. Good
Yeah,
point. Getting serious. Datuk
yeah.
Sri, kita nak chit-chat dengan Datuk Sri ni. Tapi getting serious ni, kita nak dengar joke-joke daripada Datuk Sri. Dia makin lama makin serius. Pukul 11 malam, lapar pun orang.
Okay,
Zahira has a point now. Kita punya era ni, everything is going online kan, going IT kan. kita punya rule and regulation yang kita buat, yang kita amalkan selama ni, we have to relook at it now because it seems to be disadvantage to those who play by their own rule lah. When the new players who are coming online have a different set of apa ni. I sympathize with you, Zahira. I'm sure this is a matter for
Yeah.
the ministry lah, particularly the bahagian apa ni, perlesenan, to relook at all this so that satu, kita kena protect kita punya operators. Yang kedua, our consumers lah must be given a good deal lah biar dia orang beli barang so they get the best possible offer lah. So I agree with you fully. So, you know, I remember the same case was with the hoteliers. We were trying to introduce some new ruling to the hoteliers kan. Somehow it only affected those who are licensed and who are operating within the law. There were a lot of people operating macam yang buat apa ni, this operating apa ni, apartment apa semua tu yang buat apa, homestay.
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Ha?
Airbnb.
Airbnb kan. I remember those issues kan, kita tak boleh brush it aside lah, we got to settle those things. Agaknya waktu pandemic ni, it's a good time to relook at all that now. Kalau
Yeah.
kita new normal, selalu kita new normal ya, social distancing, pakai mask, you know, new normal dalam business ni. Kan?
Yeah. Yeah, Datuk Sri,
Kalau
Uzaidi, I think
nak kena protect orang yang ikut undang-undang, bukan orang apa protect orang yang tak ikut.
yeah. Uzaidi, I think this is fundamental issues, but this is like an economic colonization by outsiders. Just to add in, we lost currency exchange data pun kita lost because they got our data, you know, and then they're not paying tax. They're probably paying tax in their own country. So I think this is a fundamental issue that the government must reset and do the right thing.
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah, agree.
Okay. Alright, Datuk Sri, I think the time is running out. Almost 2 hours. Kesian Datuk Sri. Kena dengar all these challenges and problems.
I can stay the whole night with you all, no problem.
Kita dengar dia.
Dia rindu tu.
Nah, to me it's a
Kena ada
pleasure
satu
lah.
kelas
Walaupun tak
tarik
dengar
kan.
suara you all lah.
Kalau ada teh
Mesti
tarik
follow
ke
you,
apa, gocanai ke, tosir ke, sedap sikit kan makan kan Datuk Sri.
Kena kopi dulu.
Datuk Sri, mungkin before we end session, okay, anybody else? Tuan Syam, you ada apa-apa ke? Tuan Gani? Ni, you have anything to say before we end the session? Tuan Syam? Syam dah sampai tertidur.
Yeah, hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Ya, silakan. Ada apa-apa?
Saya just nak ask sekarang ni kita fokus pada Langkawi kan. Kita imaginekan semua dulu mungkin operator jual outbound lah. Now this time dia tak boleh jual outbound, dia fokus in inbound punya market atau domestic punya market. Now how to tackle lambakan travel agent dia jual Langkawi tu. Boleh tak kita agih-agihkan mereka ni, travel agent ni jual negeri-negeri lain. Mungkin ada tempat-tempat yang belum kita terokai lagi. Itu saja saya.
Okay, alright, okay. I think that was that one is a market mechanism lah, the demand and supply kan. Of course, the more demand, the more players lah, normally lah kan. Datuk Sri, you have anything to say that?
Ada. I think di sini satu is what is already popular semua orang nak feature. Tapi kena juga ada pihak yang look at what are the new things to add kan, and put extra effort to divert people there. Saya setuju. It needs to be done. A lot of new attraction. Kalau tak ada support from the local authorities bagi sikit push buat event, feature it, then it will not get there. Langkawi also became popular. A lot of effort was put in to build up Langkawi to what it is kan. And we cannot just stay with what is already popular. We must constantly look at new places. And saya rasa dengan pandemic ni, when we open up, we should also pay a lot of attention to tempat-tempat baru. There's so many of them. And a lot of Malaysian today yang mula berjalan, to look at these places, are realizing that. I remember I was with Datuk Alex and he was telling me how KL residents are appreciating cruising and sailing in Langkawi. Dulu they used to go jauh atau pergi all over the world to do it, only to realize that within our own waters we have a lot of beautiful places. So, you know, learning from there, all new attractions, kalau kita bagi enough push when domestic demand starts, and they all should be able to cash in sikit lah, you know, to get the reprieve from this 2 year absence of tourists. Jadi, I agree lah untuk tempat baru in particular, because for tourism to grow, we must constantly innovate, come up with new ideas, new attractions, and most importantly, communicate them. Orang boleh buat chalet kat mana-mana, tapi macam mana orang nak tahu kan? So, it's
Yeah,
authority comes in.
yeah. Hans, do you have
Especially
anything to say, Hans?
that
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi,
Yeah,
Uzaidi. Thanks for the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
All right,
Go ahead.
guys. I've just listened now about the foreign OTPs, outbound travel operators, OTAs, and those things, right? Where people don't pay tax. It's not just the outbound tour operators, right, that is not contributing towards us and in Malaysia in the financial side. It's also, I'm talking it just out of diving industry, where you've got agencies which charges you from the outside, right? I'm going to use an example, Paddy, right? We got to pay Australian dollars to renew your licenses. Every time you want to buy a document online, you've got to pay in Australian dollars. So these guys are making money out of Malaysia and contribute zero back. So I think it's something that Ministry of Tourism should actually look at, because we fall under MOTAG, to enforce these agencies as well, to contribute to the financial sector. You know, I've did the maths the one time. We're not talking about 1,000 or 2,000 ringgit. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of ringgits, which Malaysia is losing on taxes. So it's something that Ministry of Tourism, I would suggest, is having a good look at, and force the people, if they want to do business in Malaysia, the money's got to be in Malaysia first and then take it out to the other countries.
Good point, Hans. Good points.
Yeah.
Good points.
Good point. I think this is something that should be addressed, you know, because I'm sure there are many other cases of a similar nature, you know, where international associations are insisting that we make payment directly to them, bypassing our own financial net here. Thank you, Hans.
Yeah, thank you. Tuan Reza, ada apa-apa ke Tuan Reza?
Yeah, thank you. I think just a little bit about my introduction. I'm running a technology logistics company, a tech delivery companies, which I think I proposed this before, like tourist by logistics, which helps the industries too. It's something creative. It's technology based, where last time kita ada banyak tourists from Middle East, those things, they like to shopping. So one thing, probably the hassle is actually to get the items or the shopping bags probably, or someone to carry with. So we propose that once you reach at the airport, so we as a logistics company will handle everything about your luggage up to the doorstep. That's one thing. If you want to go to a shopping, we will get you someone to carry for you. That will be international tourists. Where else in the domestic or local, I could see that once it's open, there's many families actually they not travel. So from one state to another state, I know but this is very like a little thing, but it's make an impact where you can travel hassle free, which the creative logistics company can help to carry your bags or your luggage, everything. Let's say lah nak pergi Langkawi, you wanna pergi Langkawi, then you carry a lot of bags, and bila nak shopping dah balik, then there's a lot of items or goods you need to bring back. So how to make it hassle free? Then this is a tech logistics coming in, which we proposed before this, but somehow I think this was before pandemic. It was not really taken lightly. And I think that's one of the areas that I could see, because it's happened in Paris, where bila you're not shopping, there's someone to carry. That's one thing. Another thing, I run a business with the ecosystem of many of startup tech companies. There's a lot of other like interesting tech startups. For example, tour please and those things. What do they do? It's a platform. It's like an agent platform where you can customize your travel package. It's not a normal like you pergi museum or you pergi visit here and there. But these things customized like to the extent of you boleh customize to go to the haunted house probably. So or probably you can go to a Makcik Lima house just to experience on that. This on the customization. These are things that most probably domestics also would like domestic tourists also would like to have an experience, something like really different on the customization, especially on the. Then we would see the patterns or the behaviors, data. What's the domestics or probably the international foreigners would like to have the experience, especially. Yeah, there's a lot of innovative technologies out there, been developed by a local startups. It's just that if like a tourist, with tourisms or probably like a hospitalities associations just talk among themselves, it will not gonna create something new or it will not gonna innovate the industry itself. Need to sit down with those startups, technologies company, probably to be different or to move forward on a different tourisms. That's one of my ideas I
Yeah.
have.
Thank you, Reza. You're talking about the startups and everything. Very interesting. Anybody else before kita ataupun Datuk Seri ataupun Gani, you have anything? Kita nak end ni. Kita nak ni kesian Datuk Seri kena
Can I
gula
say
ni.
something?
Ya, Datuk Alex.
Okay, just now someone mentioned about the economic loss, which is a very good point. That I think if we can put up the data and submit it to the economic ministry under Dato Sri Mustafa, they can look at it and bring it up to the cabinet. Because the economic losses we are suffering is a very good point, actually.
Okay,
Thank you.
alright. Okay, thank you. Itulah Datuk Seri, sebenarnya dalam keadaan sekarang pandemik, we like to revisit, tengok whether the regulation still relevant atau tidak, dan kita tahu banyak yang perlu ditambah baik, and the ministry, I think Motek has been listening. For example, travel agents tak perlu renew license, tak perlu submit audited account. So they've been what do you call it, adapting the agile regulations. So we are so happy for it. But the more things need to be relooked. For example, sekarang kita tahu wedding tourism. Wedding tourism is very important. But now we realize that nak kahwin kat sini, uh, a lot of hassle compared to nak kahwin dekat Danok ataupun nak kahwin dekat Phuket ataupun nak kahwin dekat Bali, because here we need those wedding siapa yang nak kahwin tu kena pergi ke Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara dulu. Those for example especially from Indian market, a lot of good market there from the Indian for tourism, so wedding tourism. But again, a lot of hassles for them to bring in the cook, the food, the what they call the chef, even the gelang rantai pun nak masuk sini pun kena declare, kena all kind of hassle. So but again, tourism, wedding tourism is very important. So all these thing, Datuk Sri, I think is a high time. I think everybody get together and to relook and to suggest. I'm sure the government is listening. Perhaps we need them to listen, and we need them to adopt whatever regulation that we propose. Datuk Sri, before we end the session, maybe Datuk Sri ada idea ataupun apa-apa ni, ada suggestion ataupun kasih satu joke lagi ke sebelum kita end the session, Datuk Sri?
Okay. Okay, tak ada lah. Just want to say, to the industry members lah kan. So, saya betul-betul berharap lah. I really hope, that, the trend that we can see now will all lead towards, normalizing travel again. And where the authority is concerned, since, the little I hear, they are doing all they can. And we have to actually see this new normal lah, dia kata yang the new normal ni go beyond handling people by way of the virus transmission. It's also in a greater application of this technology lah dari segi online, IT punya application in the industry. That's one area where we have to maximize. I believe a lot of our rivals, they are way ahead of us because they really capitalize on this IT development. I think since a lot of bookings have going back outside, it looks like the clock is turning backward. When I started in tourism, a lot of tours in Malaysia were booked through Singapore from Europe and the rest of the world. And then slowly we started taking the booking directly, from our own end in KL. Now with technology, they take advantage of technology, is all going up again. So kalau kita nak compete, we have to actually invest a lot of money and time into technology lah. And finally, there's nothing to replace staying together lah. Usaha Uzaidi need to bring everyone together, to discuss. I think it's a step in the right direction. Kalau you just leave everybody on their own, then there's nobody to hear them. A lot of this problem, which can be solved kalau tak dibawa ke tengah, it will be a wasted opportunity. To all the people who made the suggestion, I hope, somehow these suggestions can be, channeled to the right authorities. Some things may already be done, kita tak tahu. So, kalau tak buat, at least they can take note and work on them. So for all the views you all express, I thank you, and also I hope, my inputs are still relevant, because kadang-kadang kita terasa macam kita dah lama tak ada kat situ. We may be out of date lah. Jadi hopefully it is still applicable lah. So
Datuk Sri,
ya.
Datuk Sri, minta maaf kalau saya boleh mencelah.
Boleh.
Dia another way to, well, I'm sure that you are, Datuk Sri lebih pakar dalam hal promosi negara, tapi nak juga highlight ni, baru-baru ni saya ada tengok cerita Hindustan, saya tengok Shah Rukh Khan, tapi saya tengok tu dia shoot dekat Singapore.
Ya.
And I felt, why not Malaysia? Because we have also beautiful landscapes and
I think ada kot, Datuk Sri. Datin.
I
Ada.
don't know if you realize, Shah Rukh Khan is a Datuk from Melaka.
Yes, I know that.
Yes.
Yeah, there was one time masa kita build Indian market tu kan. When we were building Indian market, all the Tamil movies, Hindi movies, or all the movies in India kalau nak produce, Malaysia was a favorite location for them to come and shoot. If not the whole movie, they come and shoot the song here. There was that time. So I believe that can come back again. Tapi kita kena bagi incentive. Kita kena bagi incentive. All this boils down to dollars and cents. Kan? We give them incentive, they come. Because Singapore is doing that. Singapore knows that the movie can promote the place. I can give you 50 movie title yang shot kat Malaysia. Memang ada. Tapi dah kurang. So this is one area kita boleh relook and make sure they come back again.
Actually ada just before COVID, we have received a few Indian itu filmmaker dia nak shoot Malaysia, tapi like I said lah, the authorities they have to see like I said lah, this is they have to sponsor lah, finance have to be more flexible, and it is a whole package lah, whether the immigration will come in, finance will come in, I mean a few other government bodies, they have to talk to each other that this is you leave to tourism market, dia tak boleh buat apa ni, dia satu saja. So it's a whole package lah. Hopefully our authorities talk among themselves, in terms of when it comes to such issue. Even like I said again, some countries again, even like I said, why I say through experience, Indian weddings, destination wedding from India, they coming 300 people, 400 people. So all they're bringing all their gold and jewelry, because this is a tradition they give, the gifts. So custom there also sometimes they face problem. They scared. They ask us to go and talk to immigration, help them. Let them bring in these things. Otherwise they say, why you bringing gold come in and this and that. So they also actually there's a lot of small things, but it is all. I mean, hopefully, market can work together with some of the, like I say, whether it's immigration or some other department. That there needs to be a lot of what do you call that, interaction. A lot of
coordination.
Because sometimes they get stuck there because they bring their chef in, then chef cannot talk very well one, then immigration ask them one question, they cannot answer, you cannot come in. So sometimes they ask us to stand by people at the airport to help them, to give like guarantee, don't worry, these people, we ensure that they will come out. So there's a lot of operational issue which we hope eventually now the government should understand the business and then should help the industry players because if these people come in, everybody benefits So these are some of the many other small issues but you don't really see them, but it means a lot whether you are going to be successful or not successful to bring this group in.
Yeah, good point, Steve. Good points. You need to
Anyway,
look at.
Steve is the part of the team to build the Indian market. You'll be
Yeah,
surprised that he's not Indian by native, but he is one of the one of our gorilla who went there to develop the
yeah.
Indian market.
Actually, very funny, I mean, after working 4 years in Indian market to bring destination wedding, now we churi a lot from Thailand. They say, hey, how one Chinaman go to India can bring in Indian Indian to Malaysia, a Chinese man, not the Indian fellow selling Indian wedding. It's a joke.
He has
Good
always been
job,
there.
Steve.
I
Good job.
remember Steve, our trip to India. He's one of the fixed member. So Latin Rahayu, your point kan, memang
Yes.
relevant lah kalau kita gunakan various approach to win back
Yeah.
the market kan.
Yeah.
I believe this is the way the authority has to take to redevelop the market. Dulu kalau kita pergi India, after our session with the industry kan, malam after 10, 11 o'clock, we have session with the film producers. Promising them
Right.
incentive. Kita bagi bilik, kita bagi dia kemudahan untuk,
Yes.
kita bagi help them with the visa. Jadi dia ada banyak keperluan dia yang pelik-pelik. Kalau kita tangkutkan satu, dia dungkam. Dia very sensitive. So kita kena pujuk. Kalau tak pujuk, orang lain ambil lah. So sekarang ni nampak gaya orang lain ambil.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
that's so
All
good
right.
point.
Thank you. Yeah, just want to highlight that.
Thank you, Datin. Datuk Sri, you're talking about filming, because recently we had our Crazy Rich ASEAN. We managed to get Crazy Rich ASEAN to shoot here in Kakosa. But nothing at all. They mentioned about Malaysia. It's all Singapore. So and we are funding them. So are we doing the right thing or are we doing something? Funding and the Singapore has got the name.
Yeah, you're right. Cik Uzaidi. That one we have to be very careful because towards the end of my term dulu kan, I saw a lot of big event kita sponsor kan. The people who we sponsored were not giving, in the end when we did featured, we did not get a good bargain. Jadi kita kena be very careful. Kadang-kadang dia gunakan tempat kita, tapi we don't get the credit. So we have to be careful.
Yeah. Datuk Sri, that one, Uzaidi, that one you have to actually be very clear in the contract. In terms of the credit mentions, berapa kali, location you shoot berapa kali,
I'm not so
Those
sure,
have
but the
to be
Crazy Rich
really,
ASEAN is a very successful film, and everybody knows Singapore from there.
Yeah.
Even
No,
though
in terms of,
they use.
because I think ada few other films pun sebenarnya whereby we sponsor, tapi in terms of the coverage is not as much. So benda-benda macam tu we have to really
Be
monitor
careful.
and we have to fight for it lah.
We got to be careful. Pasal kadang-kadang they feature us negatively. Kalau you tengok film kat India ni, bila gangster dia nak buat meeting, selalu buat depan KLCC. Jadi kalau boleh kita pun tak nak dia feature tu. Dia banyak, they have that tendency. Jadi kita kena jaga.
Betul. Betul. You have to be very detailed on that. And also Datuk Sri, I have to agree. I have to agree when you mentioned that we have to add our attractions.
Yeah. Mr. Pradip, you are
Yeah.
here. Anything before we end our session, Mr. Pradip?
Yep, I just want to good conversation, but I think I believe the conversation is going a bit more. I think we need to tap the internal market first. We need to bring the internal market. I mean, for example, the wedding. This thing is why not we? Why are the guys who are just having the normal? extend the internal market, just bring this motivation for the internal market to go. I mean, rather than Indian, I mean, I'm hearing Indian, a lot of this external, but I think we have a lot of potential within our country itself.
Good point.
I don't think we are tapping that potential rather than looking for a dato-ship in Malacca for Shah Rukh Khan, which I can't even I comprehend why he got it anyway. That doesn't matter. He got it anyway. He got it anyway. He got some few films here. He took a film, yeah, in the jailhouse in our this thing Malacca. But but I think in COVID times of COVID. And when we want to come out from COVID, when we are opening up market, I think we have a lot of potential to bring our local tourism into a different perspective.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
I believe so that we can do something like that. Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Badi.
that's my opinion. Yeah.
Thank you, Jaja. Alright, Datuk Sri kita tadi tergendala. Maybe before we end session, maybe Datuk Sri just one or two sentence for us to before we end our session. Kalau ada apa-apa ada joke ke lagi bagus Datuk Sri. Joke kita pasal tourism ni.
Ya, tak sempat nak fikir lah joke sekarang ni. Nak practice tak ada orang lah. Jadi I mean whatever it is, when things get better, will be more fun to be laughing again lah. Jadi sementara ni kita hold on dulu lah.
Alright, okay. So with that, on behalf of the organizer, on behalf of the secretaries to extend my special thanks to Datuk Sri for spending my God 2 jam setengah with us chit chat. We just want to have a chit chat, tapi nampaknya macam is getting more serious. I think the lama lagi kita ada lagi serious we going to be discussed. So I really appreciate the opinion.
Okay.
Ni sesi paling lama ni Cik Zaidi.
Ya. Paling lama.
Break all the records.
Datuk Sri. Kalau
Itu belum masuk joke. Itu belum masuk joke. Joke sampai pagi esok.
Zaira?
Tak, itu belum masuk joke. Kalau masuk joke sampai pagi esok tak habis.
Betul Datuk Sri.
Okay, so 2 jam record breaking
Betul, lama betul ni.
Datuk Sri. I'm sure kalau sampai pukul 1 pagi pun Datuk Sri boleh cakap, boleh cerita, boleh share.
Ya, banyak.
Pukul 1 pagi. Kalau dengan tarik dengan Tose lagi bagus. So with that, again, I would like to extend my special thanks and also thanks to all our friends. Semua ada sini. Datuk Albert ada sini. Datuk Tangga from and also the Datuk Alex from Langkawi. We have so many of our friends from Langkawi. We wish you all, hoping that 16 November will be for us to be there friends here in this Hisham di pada Ipoh pun ada. We also have from Sabah. Thank you very much for attending. Rohaiza daripada Langkawi also kat sini. Alright, with that again thank you very much, and I hope please kita have this what do you call it, singer, the Azman, who is now a talk of the town, talking about My Sejahtera, My Way, dia lagu My Way, My Sejahtera. So it's a hot song, and even Sultan Johor pun amat suka the lagu tu, and in fact we're going to have he's going to be our next guest. So we hope that stay tuned, and all the best to you, and stay safe, and make sure that you will survive and to maintain and to focus the road to tourism recovery. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dan all the best.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Datuk Sri.
Good night all.
Right.
Nabil.
Datuk, thank you Datuk.
Thank you.
Ya, Kani Datuk.
Ya, ya.
Ya, lama. Very refreshing.